Now I can hear this.
You can?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Kart Chaser's exclusive coverage of the 2024 SKUSA Winter Series, sponsored by Acceleration Kart Racing and brought to you this weekend by Simcraft. We're back at the Homestead-Miami Motorplex for the second weekend of action in this 4-round championship, and more than 250 drivers across 9 classes have got 2 intense days of on-track action to decide the 2024 Winter Series champions. All the warm-up action on Saturday and Sunday is going to be free to air, but to watch every lap of time qualifying, the pre-finals and the finals themselves, you need to be a Kart Chaser Premium subscriber. Now, I am supposed to be joined by the voice of SKUSA, Rob Howden, and Mr. Kart Chaser himself, Xander Clements, but we are in the Florida Everglades, and when we told them to go out and get some lunch and make it snappy, we didn't really realise that they were lunch. This could be a problem.
The SKUSA Winter Series concludes this weekend at AMR Homestead-Miami Motorplex, with each driver facing the reverse layout for rounds 3 and 4. It isn't just the direction of the track that's different, as the cold, wet conditions we saw for rounds 1 and 2 are set to be replaced by more traditional South Florida sunshine. So where do things stand at the halfway mark? A double win for Jamaican sensation Zane Burgess gives him a huge points lead in Micro Swift, and while Alessandro Truccio and Rocco Simoni shared victories in Mini Swift, it's Truccio who holds a 40-point advantage in the title chase. In the junior classes, Diego Ardiles weathered the conditions better than most, taking a double win on Sunday in KA100 Junior and Junior X30. Ardiles enters this weekend 60 points clear of Turner Brown in X30, but he only has a share of the lead in KA100 along with Sebastian Garzon. Michel Garrido and Ruben Ravella won the KA100 Masters Finals, but Miguel Mia is the man to beat in the points table, while Skitchy Barnes is comfortably clear in Master Shifter. KA100 Senior was thrown wide open on Sunday as round 1 winner Alessandro Di Tullio and fellow podium finishers Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller all had a day to forget. Ivana Richards skated to victory, but it's Donovan Bonilla who leads a very tight points battle. In the main events, Di Tullio and Ryan Norberg showed the honours in X30 Pro, although P2 for Di Tullio in round 1 gives him the edge in the championship. Nobody could match Danny Formal in Pro Shifter, as he swept the weekend. Mateus Morgato followed Formal home on both days, but with the big guy holding a big advantage heading into the final weekend, who's going to beat him? So who will be crowned SKUSA's first champions of 2024? Join us here on Kart Chaser to find out.
Well, let's make it very clear. I was not eaten by crocodiles or alligators. I am here in Florida. Again, Rob Howden alongside Henry Beaudet. Great to be here with you folks for another edition of our SuperKart USA Winter Series. Henry, going to wrap things up here. You mentioned in the intro, very different conditions with the rain that they had back in January, but it's beautiful here today. We're going to get the sun, a little bit of cloud, but 68 degrees here trackside. Warm up underway on the racetrack. We're looking forward to what it's going to be a fantastic day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You come to Florida in January and you don't expect, well, you do expect a little bit of big climate weather, but not the kind that we saw a few weeks back for rounds 1 and 2. It is set fair for this weekend, however. 9 championships to decide. Testing has gone really well the last 2-3 days. Have been bathed in sunshine. We had one little sprinkle on Thursday, which sent mechanics scurrying to the pit lane to get wet tyres. But this weekend set to be a really, really good show.
Obviously, we ran in the counterclockwise direction in January, back to the clockwise direction here. One of the things about this track in Homestead is you do have to attack it. There's so many corners where you'll see always, the video, you'll see the photography of drivers hammering the curbs, right? Because there's lots of curbing on what is really a parking lot here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, just on the outside of turn 1 and 2 of this track, but you really have to attack it in a big way. So you see a lot of these drivers really going after some of these corners.
Yeah, and as parking lots go, it's sort of I know this might sound like a misnomer, but it's a permanent parking lot. The curbs are set in, which gives the track a more permanent feel, the painted areas, so that you don't get lost where you're going. But of course, yeah, the curbs are there full time, so that the drivers really do get aggressive. They're going to need to as well. Lots of 90-degree corners. You've got the 2 hairpins. Overtaking opportunities here, Rob, going on the clockwise direction?
A lot of them. That's the great thing, right? You can pass coming down the front straightaway to turn number 1. It's the big long run, the longest straightaway from 1 down to turn number 2 into what I call the box in the back part of the racetrack. It is really left-hand corners, right-hand corners rather in this direction, all the way into the inner loop. But you can pass at the end of the straightaway. As you come into the inner loop, you can make moves there. You see guys get on the inside of the loop, the carousel, and then, of course, back-to-back hairpins in 8 and 9. You'll see guys climb over that curb in 7 to dive to the apex of turn 8.
Yeah, it's the 2 hairpins that I'm looking forward to particularly. You've got the inner loop section that leads into sort of like, I think turn 7 is a sort of a hard right, and then straight into the left at turn 8, then up that infield straight to turn 9. Lots of over-unders. You know, a driver that makes a move into the first hairpin, they've got to defend going into the second hairpin, and then of course you've got the last straight, the outside straight into the final complex. So again, I'm looking forward to some really, really good racing. And of course, today round 3, tomorrow is Showdown Sunday, you know, title decider. We're going to see a lot of today we're going to see plenty of good racing. Tomorrow we're going to see lots of desperate racing.
Well, one of the things about this program, obviously, there is a drop as well, right? So you're going to be able to, drivers are going to make it the right way. You don't know what happens until the drop comes. So today's kind of that opportunity to get into this program, kind of, what do I need? If I had a really good January, well, you know what, maybe I could lay off a little bit here. I'll get a conservative result here in round number 3 before actually having to attack in round number 4 tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think that's, so the drivers that are comfortably at the head of the top of the standings in every class, today will be a sort of, you don't have to be ultra aggressive, you know, because, okay, I've got 2 good scores.
That's it.
You know, today we'll see how it goes. Don't want to risk anything. If I can drop today, I will. And then you see where you are on Sunday. We've got Mini Swift on circuit for warm-up at the moment. Mini Swift brought to you by TKG Kart Republic.
Yeah, the Trinity Karting Group had a chance to talk with Sean Bailiff yesterday, one of the obviously legends in our sport in terms of being a racer in karting and sprint cars and prototype cars. He's done so much racing, of course. Now he and his wife Michelle are running the Trinity Karting Group. They also run the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, that fantastic track that Supercars USA will be at this year for the Spring Nationals, all part of the Pro Tour. For D drivers on the racetrack here to get things underway as we roll through the warm-up sessions. Again, the lineup through the categories, quick 5-minute sessions. Henry, to get things underway. KA100 Junior is already be on track. Mini Swift, KA100 Senior, Micro Swift, KA100 Master, X30 Junior, X30 Senior, and their combined Pro and Master Shifter. That's the run through the rotation. We'll look at 9:05 scheduled start time for qualifying here this morning.
Yeah, then we've got the qualifying sessions, the 3 finals, a lunch break in the middle, and then the finals. No last chance qualifiers. Everyone who's here is going into the main events. This class in particular, Rob, the top 2 drivers, Alessandro Truccio and Rocco Simoni, in the championship, they shared the wins at the opening weekend. They're not here.
Yeah,
neither of them are here. We've got a couple of drivers that we'd expect to be here. Turner Brown, for example, he's got a field trip in school.
Exactly right.
And the school went, no, you're going on this field trip, but it's not to Homestead-Miami either.
So anytime we have these Winter Series events, you know, again, this is all about drivers. You know, it's been since the Supernats for a lot of them since they've, you know, got to run back in, coming through to January. It's like 2 months. But an opportunity for people to come in here and kind of clear out the cobwebs a little bit. Some drivers will be jumping up a class from micro to mini, mini to junior, whatever it may be, junior to senior. So a lot of times drivers don't run the entire series. There's so much racing going down here in Florida. So we normally see a drop from the first race to the second. Everybody's so keen to get back onto the track in January. So we had record numbers. I think it was 285 entries or something like that in January, down to just under 220, I believe. I didn't get the number on the walk-ups as of yet, but I will. So still great numbers. We're still well over 200, but there is a drop in essentially every category. So you said we're missing a bunch of drivers who aren't here. Same in KA100 Master. There's 3 or 4 drivers that were part of the action from Alessandro Racing in round number 1 and 2 in January. They're not here for rounds number 3 and 4. But still a fantastically packed paddock here this weekend.
Yeah, I've been really impressed. I mean, aside from last year's Supernats, which I was lucky enough to join myself,
and Mike Jones and Xander Clemens. This is my first experience of a regular season SKUSA race, as it were. I've been very, very impressed indeed. The layout, the paddock, the professionalism, the amount of teams that are here, the level of preparation, and of course, every time that somebody goes missing, that simply opens up an opportunity for somebody else. There are still titles on the line, still trophies to hand out, and every driver wants to put the fact that they're a SKUSA champion on their CV. Winter Series, Pro Tour, it doesn't matter. It's a SKUSA event that they want to be champions.
And the cadence of the events to start off the season here this year, again, January, February for the races of the Winter Series. The Pro Tour gets started in March in Orlando. Then, of course, you roll on through for the remainder of the events. As I said, the Spring Nationals at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, the Summer Nationals back at Newcastle Motorsports Park once again, a track you've been to before. And then, of course, looking on to the Super Nationals. The soon-to-be hopefully announced Super Nationals date will come later on this year. But again, the cadence to start the season off for Supercars USA, and then, of course, the California Pro Kart Challenge in the first in as well.
And of course, new convention drivers moving up. That means that you're going to have new names contending at the top of the chart. One of them is fastest on the circuit in Windsor right now, Mika Baruch. And I know, Robert, you were at the Challenge Americas in Tucson, Arizona last week. I was in Orlando for the Rotax Winter Trophy. The driver that is currently top of the charts, I think we're focusing on it now. We're looking at number 118, Mika Baruch. Mika, in all the years of karting that we've been involved in, one thing that you don't want to see is fire.
True.
And in a practice session at Orlando, Mika Baruch's kart, he was thrown out of the kart went up to the cloud. Big, major fire. Mika is thankfully okay. His Sony USA team completely rebuilt the kart in 2 hours because it was melting.
Wow.
Again, a new name, a driver who, what's the phrase in American motorsport? There's those drivers that have hit the wall and those drivers that are going to hit the wall. And Mika has now, in inverted commas, hit the wall, so to speak. He's had that big incident, and a scary thing. It's good to see Mika, back okay.
And Miko's on top for a majority of this quick warm-up session. Again, just 5-minute warm-up for all the categories before we head into qualifying. Benja Fernandez ended up going P1 with a 52.156. So Benja Fernandez on top. Marco Samut in the second spot. Mika Baruch in, as you said, in the third spot. Royce Vega and Julian Rivera rounding out the top 5. But you keep going down the order of the guys that could win this race this weekend. Troy Ferguson, Ashton Woon. There's a lot of great talent in this Mini Swift category.
Absolutely. And one last thing on Mini Swift before as they head back to the pits with the top 2 in the championship. Not here. Benja Fernandez is third of the points. And top of the chart. So Benja is the first driver that will be looking to take advantage of the fact that Truccio and Simeone are not here.
Yeah, Alessandro Truccio and Rocco Simoni, 2 drivers who were very impressive in January, both are heading over to Europe to do some racing. And we get a lot of that. Again, Alessandro Truccio, we've never really had Alessandro come and run in the Summer Series, the Pro Tour, because he's won the championship in Micro here in the Winter Series. He won the Mini Swift Championship as well here, but then he goes to Europe for the summer season. So always comes back to Florida, where he's from here, and drops the hammer and gets the job done, and heads back to Europe. So one day we'll see him here for a full season.
And after spending 3 weeks out here in the USA, I can see why so many people, they decide to winter in Florida, as it were. It's been very pleasant.
You're going to go back to, it's Wales, right?
It's Wales,
I don't say, you're going to go back there, and they're not going to recognize you. This tan you've got going on.
I was going to say, I've still got a tan on the top of my head, and I'm certainly, I've wintered well in terms of the food out here, which is always good. Man. I'm not looking forward to the temperature drop. And again, a big thank you to it was hashtag bring back the taffy.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I love it. That's great. Again, great to have Henry Beaudet here with you, folks. As we said, he was with us on the broadcast at the SKUSA Super Nationals back in November, the voice of Rotax globally. But awesome to have Henry here for a foray through the state of Florida here throughout February. Again, drivers on the racetrack here for KA100 Senior, brought to you by Sodi Racing USA. And again, this is, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you're able to watch through the warm-ups, but to be able to roll in for qualifying and the pre-finals and finals, you got to sign up for, if you have not already, sign up for Kart Chase's premium membership.
Yes, indeed, and it's $9.99 a month on your Android device. You need to log in on your Android device to get the discounted deal. It's $12.99 a month on the Apple device. Kart Chase don't take an extra penny. That's just an Apple charge. Looking at KA100 Senior, I've got to say, I'm really excited. I mean, you know, obviously I follow American karting from Europe when I'm not out here, but the level of talent, especially moving up from junior to senior, both X30 Pro and KA100 Senior, has got some outstanding talent in it. Big teams, lots of different chassis manufacturers, and a really good mix of sort of older experienced hands and young hungry drivers just moving out of junior.
One of the things I like about the KA category, I think it's a good cross through for drivers coming out of the junior ranks that maybe don't want to jump right into Pro X30, right? An opportunity to come out and say, listen, I was a top junior driver. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I wasn't like first and second. When I'm senior now, I can go to KA100 Senior, going to get fantastic competition, running with the seniors, like running with the big dogs, as opposed to going right to Pro X30.
Well, it's like, you know, you come out of mini and micro, and I liken that to elementary school. And, you know, you get to the top of the class of elementary school, you're in the playground, and you're the big dog walking on the playground, and then suddenly you've got to move up either high school, middle school, and suddenly you're the smallest kid in the yard again, and you've got to earn your stripes, as it were. And one driver that's been earning his stripes is number 957. That's Ty Fisher, I believe. Is that Ty Fisher, the 957 kart, the TV karts? No, sorry, Cameron Weinberg. Returning to karting, he had a year off. He played baseball and decided that, well, you know, baseball was for him, but he came back to action the last couple of weekends. Very, very good, the driver. Originally out of Carrollton, Georgia. But now based down here in Florida, Cameron Weinberg.
Yeah, we've seen the Weinberg family here for many years. There's a couple of brothers that have run with us over the years. Good to see him back here as well. Cameron back to do a little more racing. Carson Weinberg, his brother as well. So
and sorry to interrupt, Rob, but a big get well soon to Carson Weinberg. So last weekend he was racing in the Winter Trophy and went swimming in the hotel swimming pool on Saturday night. Fell and dislocated his shoulder. Smashed his leg up. He's back home and he is recovering. So hello to Carson Weinberg. Hope to have you back soon, young man.
Listen, we never have to wrap these kids up in bubble wrap when they leave the racetrack, right? They run around in scooters, breaking wrists and everything. Sorry to hear for that for Carson. Hopefully you see him back here as soon as possible. It's great to have Cameron back here as well. The Weinberg family, as I said, has raced with us here for a number of years. Good to have them back. Up front right now, Stephen Miller, again, a perennial front runner through the junior ranks in the last couple of years, now up into the senior ranks here. Miller in that Nash Motorsports number 973, the fastest. Alessandro DeTullio. Again, you look at the top of this grid and some of the talented drivers, right? You got Mick Gabriel, who's running Pro X30 this weekend as well. Donovan Bonilla, the winner at the Super Nationals. Valentino Garbarino stepped things up over the last couple of years as well. Colin Lloyd, champion as well from the Winter Series. So much talent here in KA100 Senior.
Absolutely. Ivana Richards, the winner of round 2 of this championship, and what I believe was a slightly controversial day on Sunday with several drivers getting excluded in penalties. But I mean, you can't take it away from Ivana Richards there doing a fantastic job. And again, I'm one of those. I'm a great proponent. Motorsports for everybody. To see a young lady competing and winning at this level against this competition, fantastic. Yeah, she finished second on the racetrack. DeTullio did get the victory there, but again, a DQ. There was a number of DQs for tech-wise. I believe it was like rear width. I think that I would imagine so. It was in the rain. Of course, he had the rear tires all the way in, and the bumper was out too far on the outside. It's the rules, so you got to get the job done. But hey, that just does not take anything away from the way Ivana came through that field in the wet. Like literally, we always say that the wet weather is the great equalizer, right? And she stepped up and put on a show in the wet. And the great thing was, I watched it yesterday in practice. She's right there in the middle of the fight still in terms of pace. So she's really kind of picked up where she was again in January to come back here again in the dry. So I hope that she's able to roll up a really solid finish here this weekend. Indeed. And again, you can talk about the mixture of experience and youth. Stephen Miller, new senior driver this year, top of the charts. Alessandro DeTullio, a bit more experienced, second. So a great thing of youth and experience. But when the next track goes out, why don't you, Rob, we'll take you on a guided tour of this circuit, this 12-turn circuit, before the next practice session goes out. The next practice session is going to be Micro Swift. But of course, for viewers that are unfamiliar with the clockwise layout of this 12-turn circuit, good for the Kart Chaser team to give you a guided tour of the facility that we're going to be running over the next 2 days.
So when we get rolling, we'll give you a run.
Hey guys,
here.
and welcome to AMR Motorplex in Homestead, Miami. I'm your coach, David Serra from Kart Class. I've previously won here at the Florida Winter Tour, so we're here to show you guys the fastest way to drive in both directions. So let's get stuck into it. Race lines, accelerating points, and braking markers are all the things we're going to show you guys in this track episode. This is a track that really rewards drivers that can attack the inside curbs. So don't be afraid to grip that wheel and hold on for dear life.
Good to get insight there from one of the legends of the sport, no doubt about it, David Serra from Australia. Multi-time, 20-plus time Australian champion, came over and ran a bunch of Superkarts USA events as well. Haven't seen David in a couple of years. Looking forward to seeing him get back here trackside. A tremendous driver and, of course, a fantastic coach as well. Kart Classes program, helping so many drivers around the world dial themselves in. Working our way through the morning warm-up session, just quick 5-minute sessions, getting a chance for these drivers to, clear out the cobwebs of the evening with the young kids here. Sleep out of their eyes, get them back into the groove of racing before we go qualifying. 9:05 scheduled start time, I believe, for the drivers here. Where are we right now? Maybe 4 or 5 minutes off the schedule right now. 4:24 was scheduled start time for Micro Swift, so just a little off the schedule now. Big field of drivers in this micro category, and as always the case, so many new drivers making their way into the Superkarts USA program through this micro class, right? Finally getting into the program, and David Cole and I recorded our Fan Outlap preview podcast, talking about the fact that the drivers swing anywhere from 7 years of age to 10 years of age in this class, and there are a lot of 7-year-old drivers in this category here this year, which is really good. That means they're going to be in this class for 2 to 3 years, right? Give them an opportunity to really learn, they have the right focus. They're running here in the winter series. So again, we'll see drivers 7, 8, 9, many times 9-year-old, 10-year-olds will move up to the mini category, but you can stay until you're 10 years of age.
Yeah, Zane Bird just being a prime example. Winner both events last time out, and is only 7 years old. Again, a big class of micro swifts brought to you by U-Race. Several drivers who didn't compete in the opening 2 rounds. The Team Mega karting entry, Dor Ehrlich, the driver from Israel, is here on that paralleling chassis. A couple of other drivers that we didn't see, Liam Copatilio, Dominic Gatta, Liam Francisco, Darius Warnich is another of the drivers. A couple of drivers, the Katowski brothers, Jack Katowski, and I think it's Nick Katowski. And for those of you that have followed the Pro Tour around the country, I mean, they have got Mr. Katowski Senior. He's got the standard karting Winnebago, but he has got that kitted out in a really good, Pride of America wrap. I asked him what was behind it. Was he an ex-serve? But he goes, no. I had a couple of my best friends went out to serve and never came home. So that's his way of paying tribute to a couple of people that they gave their tomorrow so we could enjoy our today's here, and I think that's a nice touch. And,
nice tribute, for
sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. The whole race suits, team clothing, it's all, Pride of America, it certainly stands out.
So again, for those of you joining here on Kart Chaser at 9:05, or let's say 9:05, 9:10 kind of a thing, when we go into qualifying, you will need to get signed up if you're not already as a Kart Chaser Premium member to get the coverage throughout today and throughout the final round tomorrow as well. And as Henry and I talked about at the start of the broadcast, this is one of those days for a guy like a Zane Burgess. If you were able to come in here like a Diego Ardiles, who had a really strong January, leading the points coming in to this weekend, this is that day where, you know what, you don't roll the dice, in my mind, right? If you can get in there, if you got the pace and go for a win, you can lock down a championship, or you can at the very least give yourself a bit of breathing room going into Sunday. Drivers who may not have had good Januaries, at least one bad weekend, are like, okay, I got to knock it out of the park here this weekend. I cannot make a mistake.
Yeah, and what you don't want to do, I mean, I know we saw some pretty sizable incidents in the opening 2 rounds. If you're one of those drivers like an Ardiles, who is comfortably, a good position in the point standings, then the last thing you want to do is go for a move that isn't on, or get yourself involved in an incident that can damage your chassis and give your team, the drivers doing well. They want their mechanics, their teams to just be fine-tuning and battling. You don't want a mad, reframing, which of course is something that could not be lined up right, and then you go into crunch day tomorrow, with a kart that you're not confident on. So
do whatever you can do to not be in line at the chassis straightening table.
Yes. Stay away from the jig. Stay away from the jig. It's like me and Wendy's. Henry, do not go near Wendy's.
That's hilarious. Zane Burgess on top for the 52.867. Again, just a quick 5-minute morning warm-up. We're seeing essentially anywhere between 5 and 6 laps laid down here by the drivers. Santiago Orioli into second, Jake Manalio third, Win Godchak in fourth, and Leo Simoni rounding out the top 5. But again, looking forward to a great day here. Again, as is many times the case, we obviously had some cloud here to start the day off. The temperature starting to go up. We were 68 when we started the broadcast. A high potentially of 78. It's going to be a beautiful day, and this is why we have the Winter Series. This is why Superkarts USA started this all the way back in 1998, 1999 with then the founder of the series as well, Don Janowski and Jim Murley. They said, hey, listen, we need, we're based in Indiana. It's cold up here.
Yeah.
We got drivers who want to drive. Let's go down and do this. Let's do this Winter Heat Series. So they came down to the Winter Series back then, and this is the reason. It's cold up north, not that bad this year, obviously, but in past years when it's been well below zero and freezing up north, you're able to work your way down, come down to the warmth of Florida, have some fun in January and February.
And also, as we saw Logan Arteta going for a quick spin, I think that the place like Homestead, and I'm learning a lot there. You've got quite a decent club series here. 80 to 100 drivers every month, and that's really good for the grassroots level of karting, because again, of those 80, 100 drivers, you know what? Some of them are going to be racing here. This is their chance to prove themselves against the big boys. Only 2 weekends a year on home territory. It gives them a chance to think, okay, how far away are we from where we need to be to compete at the very top?
And I'm a huge proponent of that. Thanks for bringing that up, because it's an opportunity. I think a lot of the drivers who are club racers, when a major series comes to their track, they're maybe a little bit, weary of potentially jumping in and going against the best, but it's the best thing you can do.
Yep.
Challenge yourself against the top drivers. You're going to learn, you're going to find out more, you're going to test yourself. And I think that's when the Winter Series comes to town. I love it when local drivers can come in and put on a show.
And again, it's one of those things. It's a gateway. You come here. Okay, I can't afford to run the whole Pro Series slate, but my local track, so I don't need to worry about the hotel side of things too much. Do there. Okay, we did okay. And do you know what? This SKUSA, it's good. It's good. We're a privateer effort. Just parents or lad and dad or lad and lass racing. But we did okay in the Winter Series. We got enough money for sort of one big event. Where are you going to go? Let's go to Supernats.
Yeah. Well, how about even this? Hey, the first round of the Pro Tours in Orlando. Well, so maybe you come in here and do the Winter Series, then you go down up to Orlando and say, listen, you know what? I've been to Orlando before. It's a state track. I'm going to go there. So a good opportunity for a driver to potentially kind of stretch themselves beyond their boundaries here to start 2024.
And also to put themselves in the shop window. Yeah. Say, okay, all the big teams are here. Who's that little kid, doing well in the kart that we don't recognize? Oh, let's find out a bit more about him. It's
true.
Yeah. But now we move on to the next class. This is KA100 Masters.
Masters drivers rolling up. The category brought to you by Alessandro's Racing. We had a really good group of 20 drivers last time we were here in January. Now 12. So we lost 8 this particular event here in February rather. But we're still the top drivers to watch. What we did gain was Mario Barrios. We haven't seen him. He was not here in January. Mario's will most definitely be going for a race win, running for Rawlison Performance Group. But your point leader from Orsalon Racing, Miguel Mir, is here, the Texan, in the number 477. My teammate when we ran the Supernats a couple of years ago. Miguel's a fantastic driver. He's in a really good place right now, because I believe he and Michelle Garrido, I think first and second in the points, or first and third in points, and they are ready to go at it. So it's going to be a lot of fun, because Garrido's going to be strong.
Yeah, indeed. Michelle, he won the opening round, and again, the mixed conditions, it really mixed the order up in lots of classes on both days. One driver that's not here, much disappointment of one of our pit reporters, David Land, and of course we do have our guys in the pits. We have Alex Searle, we've got David Land acting as pit reporters. But Mario Dominguez, the ex-IndyCar driver who raced in the first 2 rounds, Helio Castroneves was even testing before they just turned up, 4-time Indy 500 champion.
Let me throw this out here for you. That very first ever Supercarts USA Winter Series in 98-99.
Yep.
Helio Castroneves came and raced. He was part of that action back when he was running with Walker Racing.
Oh, wow.
He had his Alumax suit on.
Oh.
He did. His car suit, which I hate when they with the car suits. But he was in a Burrell Art, running at a track as well.
There we
it was
go.
fantastic.
The Derek Walker, Alumax, then he went to the Valvoline, and that was just before Helio moved on to T. Penske. I wonder if the captain would allow his drivers to race in the Winter Series. You never know.
Joseph Newgarden ran the Supernats a couple of years ago,
Yep.
so there's Will Power. Obviously, we know he does the Supernats quite a bit. So I don't think Roger's too crazy about this because Will Power continues to drive karts quite a bit. He just posted on social media driving a shifter kart at Trackhouse in Mooresville, North Carolina. So he still gets behind the wheel a lot. Joseph not so much, but Will just loves it.
Yeah.
He continues to keep driving.
And again, a couple of weeks ago, I saw Rubens Barrichello racing, still active. Antonio Pizzonia, he's not here. He's out in Italy with his son. But again, another name very familiar to SKUSA regulars, ex-Formula One drivers. We got
Super Nationals winner as well.
Super Nationals winner. We've got obviously the son of an ex-Formula One driver racing here, Bruno Benoldi. Enrique Benoldi is here with his son, of course, Danny O'Gara, the son of ex-Indy 500 and IndyCar star Sarah Fisher.
Indeed, yep. And listen, Danny had a great run last in January too. And I expect he's so young, it's one of those ones where he's going to keep picking up the pace too, running with MPG Motorsports.
So on track, and again, if you we are out in the open, of course, this is al fresco commentary. So if you do hear a little bit of wind buffering on the sound, then that is just because we are. Rob and I are situated just in front of the dummy grid. That's a bit unique. We're between the racetrack and the dummy grid on this patio of grass here at Homestead-Miami. It gives us a really good chance to look at any last-minute scrambles on the grid. But again, Charlie Fonseca, again, a driver didn't appear in the first two rounds, did Charlie? He is Costa Rica. He was fastest, but now Miguel Mia goes quickest again.
Mir, Garrido, Barrios, Hamerd, and Fonseca. Grace Hamerd in this category here. So we've seen her race in the KA100 Senior category in the last couple of years. She's running in KA100 Master now, so she's up into the 4th spot. Charlie Fonseca in the 5th position. Scott Carapoletti, he and his brother Kim here this weekend as well. Very veterans of the sport, been doing it for 30 plus years.
Now, I believe it is Scott is the younger brother. I'm trying to. They did tell me.
I've known them for 25 years, and I couldn't tell you.
They did tell me, but I've now forgotten.
Listen, here's another great story. Now I got a chance to race with him both at the Supernats and the Summer Lash last year. Tom Gerstner in that number 408, 67 years young. For me, that's just like I'm 55. That's 12 more years of racing still. So to see Tom out there all the time battling away, I just absolutely love seeing him on track.
Exactly, and you got Junaid Din. Out there, driver, now based in the USA, but he's from Pakistan originally. One of the very few drivers in international karting that displays the Pakistan flag as their country of origin. To give you an idea of just how popular globally, this event is. I mean, I went round on Thursday and had a brief check of the nations that we got represented, and I mean, I don't think this is every single one, but I mean, the United States, obviously, Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Venezuela, Peru, Guatemala, the UK, Italy, France, Brazil, Cuba, Argentina, Colombia, Trinidad and Tobago, Curacao, hotbed of racing, Curacao, China, the Bahamas, Jamaica, Israel, and Pakistan.
I think you missed one, Bermuda.
That's because Skitchy wasn't here.
He wasn't here yet.
All right, I'm going to write that one down, Bermuda as well.
Add that one on there, Henry.
That goes into the Caribbean collection.
Charlie Fonseca goes P1, 51.010 on the final lap here. And again, you don't always put a lot of weight on the pace you have in the warm-up because obviously drivers are on whatever tires they have. They're not on the race tires. But it's always nice to roll out and warm up and be fast.
Exactly. I mean, for some it's a systems check, but of course, the phrase we use is sandbagging. Obviously someone will go out there, they'll post a really, really good lap, and that gets everyone else thinking. That gets everyone scrambling before qualifying. And who knows what the fast driver was running. Because it's only warm up. There's no tech in warm up or anything like that. But obviously a lot of drivers sometimes they use a little bit of that, that mental edge, to maybe get their rivals overthinking what to do.
And even for yourself, right? I think that's one of the things too, is like, at least I know for myself, I get out there and I have a good warm-up before qualifying. I'm like, okay, you know what, that was good. I feel good, like especially if you're new to a track, right? And again, remember they had a full day of practice yesterday.
Yep.
If you didn't get a chance to practice Thursday, you've slept on that first day on the racetrack. You got the groove down. You feel good at it. You talked about it all night long. The warm-up was your opportunity to kind of maybe test something that you learned the day before, and then try to roll it out during qualifying.
Yeah, exactly. So for some drivers, it's a system check. For other drivers, it's a very, very critical 5 minutes.
Yeah, agreed. I think so too. So 3 more categories still to go here. We're about 3 minutes off. We gained a little bit there. X30 Junior rolling out. The category brought to you by the Rullison Performance Group. X30 Junior, another great field here. And man, I'll tell you, the names that we have in this class that we've watched come up through those micro and mini ranks, right? And drivers now taking their chance in the spotlight in the junior categories. Because you go back and look at some of these kids that have run junior over the last couple of years and where they are right now. Connor Zilic now has got a Rolex watch, having won the outright Rolex 24. Amazing. He was here running as a kid throughout the many years he was in karting.
Connor Zilic, the only Rolex 24-hour winner who was raced at Dunkerswell Kart Raceway in Devon, also known as the Mansell Raceway, which was previously owned by Nigel Mansell. During COVID, Connor was in Europe, and he was doing, and then when karting started again, but obviously transatlantic travel was still not possible. He was stuck in Italy, and he came back. He flew to the UK, did his quarantine, and couldn't go back to the USA. There was a round of the British Kart Championship in southern England at a very quaint track called Dunkerswell, and he went, right, well, he rocked up and did a round of the British Championship, and then while he was waiting to go back to Europe before he could come home, to the USA.
Indeed. And again, we talked about Zilic was here. You look at Brett Cruz, who's been here before. Drivers that we're seeing now roll into the USF Pro Championships, like a Max Garcia was all part of the action here. And of course, now we're going to see Sebastian Weldon in the USF Juniors program, Jack Jeffers as well, who will very likely battle for a championship. All have spent time running here in this Superkarts USA Winter Series. So looking forward to seeing which of these young juniors now is going to be the next one that work their way through your professional racing. And again, that'll be years from now, obviously, as they're still working on their craft here in the X30 Junior class. But we do have a fantastic field of great drivers in this category, and I would expect this class to be potentially some of the most heated. I think sometimes it gets aggressive in the senior categories, but it's more controlled aggression a lot of times, whereas the juniors are learning aggression and how to be that way, so sometimes a little more elbows up.
This is the combination of hunger and teenage testosterone at its highest. Couple of changes. Chase Gassioli now running with Nash Motorsport. We saw Chase have a big crash here at the second round. The doctors cleared him to race the last 2 weekends. He changed teams. Nathan Dupuis has moved over from Speed Concepts to the Super Tune team. He's now on a Paralink chassis.
That's a big thing too, swapping different chassis as well, going from the Red Speed to the Paralink.
Yep, indeed. And so there's a few changes there. Enzo Vidmontien, a driver I'm looking forward to, cashed your mind back to Supernats, was amongst the front runners all weekend, and then had an issue and didn't race on Championship Sunday. But I'm looking to see him, in action again. Very, very quick indeed. Sadly, of course, Turner Brown on that field trip. I'm sure he's watching back.
Europe. I think it's to Europe, I was told.
Yeah, he's going. And I have to say, Turner is going to go to Europe later this year. I know we're at a SKUSA event, but he did win the Rotax Winter Trophy Junior Rotax class, which finished up last weekend. So he is now an official member of Team USA, who will go to Sarno in Italy. So maybe Turner just brushing up on his Italian before he goes with me to race later this year.
Here's some of the names that you're going to see and talk about and hear throughout the entire weekend. Diego Ardiles, we know, had a great run in January. Enzo Vidmontien, Jackson Woley, Max Weiland, Sarah Bradley had a really good run in January as well, so look for Bradley to be in there. Former Supernats winner in the mini category, David Ramirez. All these drivers, we talked about Ty Fisher, Nathan Dupuis, Paul Medeiros in the top 10 right now as well. So a number of drivers going to dial things in, and again, we look forward to a full day of racing here. Of course, all live on Kart Chaser. Remember, before we head into qualifying, if you're not already a premium subscriber, get that done. If you want to watch the broadcast here throughout the day and all through Championship Sunday as well.
Indeed. This is, of course, brought to you by Acceleration Kart Racing. This weekend's coverage is also sponsored by Simcraft. And here's the number 750 kart, just running a little bit wide. So Diego Ardiles is fastest at the moment as the checkered flag waves. So Ardiles picking up where he left off 3 weekends ago. Seems like it has not been long. And another thing I've noticed that, again, that with all the racings, you've got other championships down here at Homestead, you've got racing in Orlando as well. Some of the drivers, especially those from Canada and South America, they basically base themselves here for 5 weeks, you know, and it's they're doing kids doing homeschool. I was actually helping Julian Rivera, one of our mini drivers, with his English homework.
You were?
Yeah, I mean, he must be in trouble if he's using me to help with his English. But again, a lot of these kids homeschooled. Some of them are like going back and making up time, you know, and but a lot of them here, you know, mums and dads become the teachers, and that's the life of an international kart racer.
Indeed it is. Diego Ardiles, as you said, ends up being the fastest driver in warm-up for X30 Junior, brought to you by Rollinson Performance Group. 2 more categories still to roll out before we head into official qualifying. X30 Senior will be the next karts onto the racetrack, and again, looking for these drivers to put on a show as well. Again, our 2 pro categories are the classes set up to roll here, and as Henry said, all the coverage here on Kart Chaser brought to you by Acceleration Kart Racing, and engines firing up behind us, as you said, on the grid, getting set to go again. The 5-minute warm-up for these drivers. And these are the classes we always love watching, right? The pro guys know how to get the job done. We talked about the aggression and how you learn how to harness that aggression in the junior categories, because once you get to senior, it's a totally different game. And again, I always find it intriguing, the young drivers, the juniors that come up, right? Because essentially you roll into the senior category. The seniors will have a limited amount of respect for you. They know what you did in the junior category. But when you come up to senior, you do have to earn your respect. If you don't, if you start getting a little bit too cocky, you'll get taught a couple lessons.
Yes, indeed. A couple of lessons that won't be painful for you, but it'll be painful for mum or dad's bank balance. Certainly. You have to earn your stripes, such as in any sport. Whilst we're watching them on the rolling lap, you know, we've got a full Kart Chaser crew here. We've got Simon on the producing side. We've got Emery Lyder in the replay booth. We've got Brandon Simoni producing. Obviously, Alex Searle and David Land out in the pit lane. Carl Cuthbertson will be doing lots of social content, and out on circuit, you know, the likes of Jerry Fandry, Rocco Simoni, Riley, as well as the rest of the crew. But you've got the EK News team here, EK Karting News team. David Cole out there doing what David Cole does. One question, Rob. How insufferable has David Cole been since Michigan won the Natty?
Well, I say this all the time, that you know, when it comes to University of Michigan football, if they've won, he's great on Monday.
Okay.
If they've lost, he's kind of, I don't really talk to him that much on Monday. He's a bit grumpy. I think he's going to be riding the high from the national championship for a few months right now.
For a few months, yeah. I can imagine that. You know, if you were anyone other than a Michigan football fan, being in his company was somewhat unpleasant. And if you were a Michigan football fan, it was probably the best night of your life.
Well, and I had a chance to head over to Trinity Karting Group for lunch yesterday with Sean and Michelle. Obviously, they're huge Ohio State fans. And I told and Sean said, "Hey, tell Cole to come over for lunch." And David said he didn't think it would be a wise idea, having the fact that Michigan's beaten Ohio State a couple of times.
Exactly. So. You wouldn't know what would be in the food.
That's exactly that.
Yes. But okay, back to on-track activity. Ryan Norberg is top of the charts. Well, one event that I'm really looking forward to, the Norberg Invitational.
Oh, it's going to be fun. Yeah.
It'll be a lot of fun. Great to see somebody putting back into karting. I think that's got the potential to be a real sort of all-star race, you know, as things progress. But yeah, Norberg, Christian Garduno, Noah Jackson, Donovan Bonilla, Lucas Nanji, Nicholas Chalecki, Laurent Legault. Again, the amount of talent is really, really poorly. Massimino, 29 drivers in total, just under 30. That's a good number. That's a good number. Oh, we could have several. Oh, there's the Dan Devereaux racing driver. Who is that getting that out the way?
Yeah, that's literally coming out of the final corner of the racetrack, that 10, 11, 12 combinations, a couple drivers getting together. I would assume maybe one driver just dropping a wheel, I think, coming out.
Oh, yeah, let's have a little look. Is that a driver touring back, maybe with a bit of damage on the kart, the 85. That's Diego Ramos. Oh, yeah, Ramos off track now. Is that? Yeah, I think that could be a case of maybe either a very close spectator or an additional participant as Ramos is getting off course. Diego, another driver that will be going to Sano. He gets to represent Brazil in this year's Rotax Grand Finals. Is it me or does that NASA panel look a little bit skewy?
Something's wrong there. Some contact there for Diego Ramos for sure. I think you see him kind of shortcut the course. I don't think SKUSA is going to be real happy that he shortcut the course to come back. I understand he's trying to get back to pit lane early, but that's normally frowned upon, obviously.
Yeah.
There's the number 2 right there of Ryan Norbert of the RPG Rawls Performance Group Cosmic. Again, a perennial champion, multi-time SuperKarts USA champion, through a couple of USPKS titles in there as well. Was able to win his first and only Super Nationals a couple of years ago, adding that really crown jewel to what is a tremendous resume. And you look over the close to now 70 years of karting, all the racers we've had here throughout the years in American karting, you got to start putting the Ryan Norberg name in literally in a small group of drivers as one of the absolute very best.
Yeah, the top table for certain. I mean, we're going back, look at the likes of Lake Speed,
Lynn Haddock, who's here with us for sure. Yeah,
and even down to the very, very first World Karting champion, Jimmy Yamin, who was based out of California, won the first World Karting and a non-CIK World Championship in the Bahamas back in 1959. He was still, I'm not sure if he's still with us, but he was when he was 95.
Jimmy Yamani,
Jimmy Yamani, great names. Forerunners of our sport.
Back in the day when it was just something completely different, right? It was so raw and so new, and you see pictures of it, and you're like, man, I wish I could go back for a day.
But also the technical innovation. People building their own chassis, and the advancement in technology as these great thinkers of our sport suddenly would rewrite the rule book, but there was no rule book. But they fantastic stuff, and certainly a world away from the multi-million-dollar industry that you're looking at on your screens.
100%, yeah. But those were the early days of it. Again, we're getting close to the 70th year of karting, right? 2026 will be 70 years. So a couple years from now, we're looking forward to some hopefully some big events upcoming here in the United States as well. I know we did a roundtable on ekartingnews.com talking about, hey, we should get a world championship over here in 2026. Whether or not that happens or not, it's just that would be something that David Cole's like, I think that would be a really cool day. He wrote an article on it. We did a podcast on it, and that'd be something to see. It'd be fun to see.
Absolutely. Anytime. I mean, sometimes I accuse karting of not appreciating its history enough because of the nature of the sport, where unfortunately it's seen more and more as just a stepping stone and not a career and a sport unto itself. The nature of it is that the drivers are in a hurry to not get out of karting, but some of them are. Some of them are in a hurry to get to Formula Car racing, to sports car racing, and therefore, they're always looking in the future. They're not looking back. And you don't learn from our history. What have you got?
It's indeed one of the exciting things that's kind of happening in the sport right now is the level of vintage racing that we have here in the U.S. continues to grow, and I think that's really exciting too, to see so many guys out there driving, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s models of karts. I have a 1982 Margay Expert 2 in my garage. It's just amazing to look at the thing. It's just, there's no body work on it, right? It's just part of the history of the sport.
And retro karting in Europe, there's a huge growth industry in terms of the tires, making sure the tires and remanufacturing parts.
Mid-90s Formula A stuff over there. I just think that's the coolest stuff.
Oh,
right?
Dearie me, don't start me now. Just but the engine, you can hear the engine screaming before they go ping, and there goes a piston. But at different times.
But good to see the history still being supported and taken care of. And again, like I said, there's so much great karting we have over here now. The crazy thing is that, you know, they look at kind of that 30-year mark. There's that kind of sliding scale of what's vintage nowadays.
Yeah.
Supercars USA, it's been around now for 31 years.
So a car that
I want to say 91 or 92 or 93, I think, was when Supercars USA first started. So you're almost into like those early days of shifter karts being considered vintage.
Yeah, no, exactly. You know, I was looking in pain. It was a pre-95 is now considered vintage.
There you go.
Which would have upset us both. Really.
I started in 1995. So yeah.
Oh,
well, I'm definitely vintage. I know you are. We're definitely vintage.
I'm working hard on it.
You're getting there. You got time. You got time still. So indeed, the pro shifter drivers, pro and master shifter, indeed only one master shifter driver here this week, and that's Skitchy Barnes.
Yep.
Frank Runco did not make the call to come back down here, so Skitchy coming over from Bermuda. He'll be running against all the pro drivers here this weekend. He's got the championship, of course, that wrapped up then. But this is going to be a good weekend. Some good battling again. The primary guys, Danny Formal battling it out with Mateus Morgado, but we do have another driver rolling. Again, local driver Alan Isambard is going to be part of this deal as well, but I think that Giorgio Carrera is going to be a guy to watch for Inter-MS.
Yeah, indeed. And I guess we talked about Skitchy Barnes. Let's not forget 5th overall on the Sunday in the final. Okay, weather was a part of it, but yeah, the Bermudan driver, he's not there to make up the numbers. Yes, he'll want to not affect the main title picture and get in the way of drivers that are fighting for their own title, but he's not here just to drive around the back and make up the numbers. You know, if he sees an opportunity, he will go for it. But again, fascinating. Formal, Morgado, and
so I want to see him now. He's obviously running at Masters weight, right? So run at Masters weight, get this championship done, then take that weight off. And run pro on Sunday.
Again, today, get it done so you cut your best 3 out of 4 scores, and then Sunday, I wonder, maybe we could, you know.
He's got to run pro.
He's got to run pro with the campaign, you know, hashtag Skitchy as a pro.
Hashtag go
now.
pro. Yep.
Starts now. Skitchy is a pro.
So good, as I said, to have Carrara in here. You got, as we know, Formal and Morgado are going to be fast. Cooper Beckton was super impressive at the January run as well. He was right there, kind of top 5, top 6, and then was really impressive in the wet on Sunday.
And what I was seeing on Thursday was that after every single practice session on Thursday, Danny Formal was giving Cooper Becklin a really lengthy, detailed debrief. In fact, Formal was going out behind Becklin just to watch Cooper in the car and could then sort of describe to Cooper what he was doing, what he needed to do. I was very impressed. There's a sign of a real team leader, you know, and of course he wants to get Cooper to this point where Cooper can beat him, and Danny won't like that, but that's the whole point.
That's the job.
That's
right?
the job, yeah.
And listen, that happens. Listen, that's one of the beauty things at Rawlson Performance Group. You got a Ryan Norberg, and you got a Danny Formal, right? Danny's on the shifter side, the gearbox side. Of course, Ryan's on the single speed side, and they push those drivers to beat them. Right? That's the key. Obviously, there's a lot of great drivers who Ryan's had to battle with in the single speed. And Danny Formal, like you said, do whatever he can to have the teacher get beat by the student.
Yeah, and that keeps the teacher on top of their game, because the teacher has to keep improving their own performance. You know, the greatest compliment as a teacher is if your student is racing you neck and neck for a final victory,
100%.
and that the teacher just takes her to the final corner. You know.
So we're about 5 minutes away, folks, from the start of our qualifying sections. Of course, when we do go to qualifying, you'll have to be signed up as a Kart Chaser Premium member if you want to follow our coverage here on YouTube throughout the weekend. So if you have not done that, you get a couple minutes to get that locked and loaded so you don't miss a lap of qualifying, as we'll have our drivers in the KA100 Junior category rolling out. They're already coming down here behind us.
Yep.
Here on the grid area. Again, my name is Rob Howden, joined by Henry Bodette throughout the entire weekend as we wrap up this year's SuperKarts USA Winter Series. 71 degrees now trackside. Still a lot of cloud cover right now. That full blue sky has not come through yet. So just folks getting an update here right now from our producers here at Kart Chaser. You have more time, actually. Oof. You're going to have about a couple hours. Being told qualifying will be actually available on the free YouTube channel as well. So if you are looking forward to watching all the action in terms of wheel-to-wheel racing, the pre-final and the final, that's when you're going to have to sign up for premium membership.
Yeah, indeed. So bonus laps for the free-to-air viewers, which is good because the checkered flag is out, Rob. Warm-up for round 3 of the SKUSA Winter Series is officially over, and you called it, Giorgio Carrara. Say, in quotations, only warm-up? Oh, well, no, not for these guys. They're the masters, okay, they're the pros, but they're the masters at the mental side of it. Carrara, Morgato, Isambard, Formal, the top four. Cooper Becklin, there we go, Cooper Becklin, 500ths of a second slower than Danny the teacher.
Well, and for Carrera to come in here again, like set, kind of set the tone a little bit, right? Deliver a little message early. Hey guys, I got pace. I know we're going to bolt on brand new Vinklo tires and get out there and get rolling. But the bottom line right now is the fact that hey, I've got some speed here. So look out, this is going to be a good battle. Listen, we got 4 fantastic drivers up top, all of them with fantastic pedigree. You look into Carrera's career. This is the guy that got us all the way up to Formula 3, FIA Formula 3. So the guy's a tremendous driver, not only in karting but in Formula cars as well. So we are lining ourselves up for what we expect to be a fantastic day. Now it's time to get official. Now it's you can talk, you can do whatever you want. You mentioned there's no tech at all during warm-up. Where do you just get through, get the job done? But man, we roll here now into qualifying. Now we get set to go. KA100 Junior will be up first.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're gonna need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rip protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway into professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. We're based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
Kart's back on the racetrack right now as warm-up is done and dusted as we had said. Now it's time to get to work. Qualifying set to go here for the drivers, and I believe in certain categories we'll be running a couple groups of qualifying as well. We'll split those into 2 groups, so we'll line you up for that. I would expect probably KA100 Junior, maybe KA100 Senior as well, but the full group here for, the first group rolling out right now, we'll get full groups for the mini categories and micro, but KA100 Junior brought to you by Nash Motorsports, first group on track. There you go. So happy hour, of course, crucial yesterday afternoon.
Yes.
That's one of the things we didn't talk about yet. So during the practice days, we have an extended period at the end, a 7-minute session to start the day, and then we do a longer 12-minute session at the end of the day. We'll call that happy hour.
Okay.
Crucial there,
Yes.
obviously. You lay the laps down there. So essentially the front half is in one group, the bottom half is the other group. That's important when you head into qualifying.
Yeah, because of course, there are different experience levels with qualifying. With only being a pre-final and a final, qualifying is so much more important than if there were some heat races in between. And this is just given, it's a good thing for both the fast guys and the not so fast guys, because nobody wants to. If you're a new driver to the National Series, you're just finding your feet. You don't want to be going out there and then suddenly one of the superstars is blaming you for ruining their lap, because you're trying to do your best job as well. And for the fast guys, they know everybody in this group are quick. They can work together like you're looking at on the screen as well. So it avoids, potential contentious issues.
Well, it's going to be around people of like speed as well, right? That's in terms of you having a clean qualifying run. Like you said, if you're out there and you're on a qualifying flyer and the guy in front of you is a 5/10 slower, going to check you up. That's obviously going to ruin the start of your day. So again, dialing things in to get these guys underway. So qualifying, rolling for the drivers in KA100 Junior. Luis Fernando Nunez on lap number 2 out of the gate as the quickest driver with a 50.747. But Eli Steinbrook then goes to the top of the charts as well. This is going to be a battle, but early on, just these drivers here, I think the key for us as commentators, the guys that ends up P1, P2, where do they slot in, right? That's where they, once the fast drivers come out, where do they hang on to?
Yeah, and of course, so Eli Steinbrook at the moment, a 50.666. We've got a bit of cloud cover over the circuit now. I mean, if the track temperatures change even by a degree or two, some of these guys and girls in this session, they can shoot up the order. So you've got the top 27 still waiting to go out. So, I mean, in total, that means that we have got, let's count the amount of drivers in total. I mean, with 27, there are 51 in total in this class in KA100 Junior. Fernando Nunez, 50.247. And of course, that gives the advantage, the drivers sitting on the grid, they know what they're capable of, and they can think, 50.2, that's not too great, or 50.2, wow, I gotta get my head down.
Now, occasionally you'll get a driver who does have some trouble in happy hour, and then they'll be kind of the drivers to watch here in the opening group. Luis Fernando Nunez out of the gate, as we had said, 50.247, Aiden Apotra into second. Travis Pettit, Keith Lewis, and Luke Tal round out the fast five here early on. Again, drivers just kind of getting settled in. These are obviously new tires on them here right now, the new MGs, so get them dialed in a bit, get a little bit of heat in the tires. Surprising, only 4 laps. And I love the fact that it's a short section. I like the fact you got to go out and get it done.
It teaches the drivers a very valuable skill. There's no going out dawdling, getting taking a lap or two just to get yourself in. You've got to be on the money, aggressive from the word go. Luke Tal, we mentioned, the Dutchman. Luke had a nasty fall here in the paddock a couple of days ago, and was sporting a nasty graze down his face. Luckily, his mum's a doctor, so she was able to patch it up.
We need to wrap them in bubble wrap.
Oh, give us a good tree. We climbed it when we were a kid.
We did.
If we fell out, you're probably going to slap. Probably going to get a slap, for falling out of the tree. But Luis Fernando Nunez, a 50.151. We're expecting the times in this next group coming up now to dip into 49s very quickly.
Yeah, this time would have put him around 29th in happy hour yesterday. So yeah, you're going to see some big times coming here out of the remainder of this field. Again, a good group of drivers, as we said, in KA100 Junior. 51 in total, a massive field of drivers. I think we had 48 pre-entries, so that's 3 walk-ups coming in here as well. It was interesting. David Cole and I, when we did the Outlet preview podcast, I was kind of going through the senior category, and I didn't see Noah Ross, our driver that we know is always super quick here. I actually saw him over the big track yesterday, and I said, "Are you running?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm racing." Why didn't you? Well, we just do a walk-up.
Okay.
What? It's cost you extra money. What are you doing?
I know, this is something I'm learning. I'm trying to get my entry lists early, a couple of days ago, and they're like, it ain't finished yet.
What? More guys coming.
Yeah, you can still just walk up, which again, there's pros and cons to that. You know, it doesn't help the organisers terribly much, but again, it does mean that there's always a surprise come race morning as the green flag is in the air.
Henry, let's look at this real quick. You'd think lap 4, right? Your last lap would be the best. There's a lot of drivers who were quick here on lap number 3 as well, whether they just weren't able to maximize their 4th lap. I want to figure out kind of when you and I need to be looking. Like, when are these guys going to be laying down the big laps, 3 or 4?
I would say, you know, the more experienced drivers, they'll plan their track position so their last lap is the fastest.
Exactly that.
You want to be crossing. Number one, you want to be the very last driver to take the checkered flag, and you want to be your last lap to be your fastest lap. That way, that you've maximised your effort, and there's nobody on track behind you that can steal it away from you.
And I think one thing that we need to talk about too is remember, these tire pressures are set to come in on lap 4, right?
Yes.
You don't want the Kart coming in on lap 2. You don't want a great lap on lap 1. It's going to keep coming in. So lap 4 is the one, and you mentioned it perfectly. We haven't mentioned this yet. You have to position yourself on the racetrack. If you put down a flyer, you've gone purple on lap 3, but you're closing up on somebody, you have not managed the track that well.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, you've also, I mean, we're looking at, there was one of the Orsolon karts there. That's a great track position in some respects, but what is he missing, or that driver missing? Somebody to tow him round.
On the last lap.
On the last lap.
Maybe you don't want it the entire time, but he's out there by himself. The driver behind him in the 893 is going to have an opportunity.
Diego Ardiles.
Yeah, well, of course it is, yeah. But Diego may have a chance to leverage a little bit of that draw, and that might have been Sebastian Garzon out in front of him. Those two drivers are guys that were obviously super good in January. So we'll see how it all plays out. Again, we may see lap 2, a driver in the fast group go somewhere into the top 5, or P1.
Or P1, yeah. Or P1 and 2 and 3.
Yeah, so lap 2 for Garzon, Ardiles, and Max Christia. They go first, second, and third on the second lap. And again, whether or not they're able to go quicker on lap 4 is key. You mentioned it, you want to be the last guy across the line with the fastest time.
Yeah, indeed. And so that is Sebastian Garzon, the 850 for the Orsolon racing group. He was doing some car racing over in the big circuit, a Ray Formula Ford car, and apparently he was very impressive, winning most of his races there. I think he gets some sort of Lucas Oil scholarship for doing that. Ardiles is chasing him, so again, Ardiles has got one up on Garzon at the moment because he can use Garzon's car as a bit of a, as a target. As we look again, a 49.539 for Garzon, 49.57 for Ardiles. Christia, Romanian born, now based down in Georgia. He's third. Alexander Bonchev, Fausto Arnado, Walter Jenkins the fourth, Michael McGoy, Enzo Bigmontien, Naomi Garcia, Sebastian Vanagas, Jackson Walney, Salvador Della Vecchia, your top 12. Plenty of big names up there. Little sizzle, Isaac Malkout down in 15th, and Lillian Scarborough in 16th. Her older sister Emma was superb at Orlando.
She's actually racing the USF Juniors in the big track here this weekend.
Oh, okay,
so she's over there driving in USF Juniors, part of the Academy Winter Series here this weekend. Garzon and Ardiles, in fact, everybody going quicker here on lap number 3. 34 thousandths of a second separate first and second. Here they come. What do we got? Ardiles grabs some more pace in the final circuit by almost a full tenth of a second. 49.440 for Diego Ardiles on top. Sebastian Garzon in second. Michael McGoy jumping up to third, a 49.621. And look at this again. A number of drivers not able to capitalize and maximize their final lap. Garzon did not go any quicker on the final lap. Neither did Christia. He ends up in fourth. Walter Jenkins rounds out the top 5. Alexander Vanches, Jackson Wolde, and Ty Fisher all faster on lap number 4. Fausto Arnado not able to go quicker on lap 4. He'll have to stand on a 49.754, his lap time from lap number 3. Salvador Della Vecchia rounding out the top 10.
And again, Ardiles, the difference between Garzon and Ardiles, Garzon had nobody to follow. Ardiles, he had the rear bumper of Garzon to aim at on that last lap, and it worked perfectly. You don't look back there, drivers, how key the great track positioning for qualifying, what you need to do. Look at Diego Ardiles in that session. Chasing a driver he knows is as quick, if not a little bit quicker than him, and using that driver
as a target and as get a little bit of a slipstream when it matters.
Just on the outside of the top 10, Isaac Malkett in the 11th spot, Enzo Vidmontier in 12th, Sebastian Vanegas in 13th, Naomi Jade Garcia 14th, and Cole Medeiros rounding out the top 15. The driver who was the quickest in group number 1 ended up 20th on the order, so indeed not too bad, but again, moving up a couple of spots, top 27 on back, I believe, we're in the first group. So that's a pretty good improvement into the top 20.
Net gain of 7 places.
Got to take that for sure, rolling into qualifying. But qualifying, again, is underway here, folks, live here on Kart Chaser. Here is your order if you're just joining us here. KA100 Junior just wrapped up with Diego Ardiles going P1 over Sebastian Garzon. Mini Swift drivers getting set to roll on track. From there, we'll go to KA100 Senior, Micro Swift, KA100 Master, and then the X30 Junior and Senior classes wrapping up with Pro and Master Shifter. From there, finally we roll into wheel-to-wheel into pre-finals.
Indeed, indeed. So, Mini Swift, of course, no true show. No Simeone, the championship. Well, Benja Fernandez, 3rd in the standings. Royce Vega, Supernats winner, 4th in the standings. Ashton Woon, 5th in the standings. Marco Samut and Valentino Santillan, the drivers that will be vying for the title. But again, plenty of drivers. And of course, we may have seen a couple of drivers, say for example a Maxwell Matcher. Wasn't that great in terms of top 5 results the first 2 rounds, but don't forget he's moving up out of micro into mini. He's got that extra couple of weeks of experience in the class, and this is where we see that the improvement of the drivers moving up. Expect the likes of Matcha to be far more competitive this weekend as they get used to the increased level of competition.
And for me, it's obviously the difference in age, right? If you've ever you've watched it, your kids' age, it's from 7 to 10, much different kid, right? So not so much 13, 14, 15 to a certain extent, and of course once you're into 17, 18, 19, you're kind of the same. You don't change that much in terms of your abilities on the racetrack. It's very interesting to watch these young kids like a Maxwell Matcha come up from micro into mini and watch them figure it out and start getting into the battle and working their way forward.
Yeah, when you get to 12, 13, 14, 15, the only thing that changes is their disposition. They go from, hi mom, hi dad, to,
exactly. Hey bro.
Oh God, oh, I gotta do my homework.
So again, good field here in the drivers in this Mini Swift category. We have 22 in this group ready to roll out. Again, the Trinity Karting Group, Kart Republic sponsoring the Mini Swift class, and those drivers are on the grid and ready to get that green. We're set to go with the Mini Swift class at 9:20, at 9:19 on my watch. We're firing up the engine, so right on the clock here for qualifying. Again, beautiful day set up for us here, 72 degrees. Not a lot of blue sky yet, still a lot of cloud cover, but a significant breeze trackside. We're going to see that all blow out and eventually have beautiful blue skies. I believe right around the noontime, I think I saw it, where we're going to start getting some really nice blue skies. So indeed, much better than the rain that we saw here in January. Temperatures are very comfortable here, and looking forward to seeing what these drivers do when they get out onto the racetrack. We'll see which ones step it up. But as Henry said, first and second points are here. Not here this weekend. Those drivers, Alessandro Cruccio, back to Europe to do some racing, as the same with Rocco Simoni. So we'll see the other drivers kind of work their way to the forefront here, and as we get ready to get rolling here with these drivers. Again, Benja Fernandez, the driver for SLA Karting on the Kart Republic, who will have the point lead now, effectively coming into the weekend.
On to the track go the drivers. You can see the Homestead-Miami Speedway, the NASCAR track in the background. We are in Homestead-Miami, South Florida. Those of you not watching the Kart Chaser coverage from around the world, we do hope you can't see the comments on the live chat here in the commentary box, but please keep them coming in, keep the chat nice and respectful, please. It's kart racing only. You've all got your favourites, and you've all got the drivers you want to cheer for, but remember, it's a family show. We enjoy the comments, we enjoy the Kart Chaser community action on the live chat, but again, as long as you keep it nice and respectful, that'll be lovely. Here we go then, Mini Swift, right. Trinity Karting Group in the Kart Republic. The drivers are on their first flying lap.
Short session, as Henry and I have detailed already, with the short amount of time. 4 laps coming for some of these faster categories. There was a handful of race cars there.
That was Parker Ives, of course, the son of former NASCAR Cup Series crew chief Greg Ives, and Parker showing great kart control there, the silver crash helmet. These curbs, they're deceptively, in Europe we call them the shark tooth curbs. And, you know, you can get over them. They do retain any residual water in them. And, yeah, you can attack them, but don't go, oh dear. And that is the 110, the 192, and the 130. The 110, that was, my entry list is showing a different picture.
I don't have that one.
Nico Kotowski was one of them in the 192. We will pull that down. Lorenzo Varela, the 110, the Brazilian driver, was amongst them. I think maybe Giovanni D'Antonio as well was involved in that. Just saw Darren Kidd drive out. He was a late entry onto the circuit. Now, this is the campaign, Rob. I mean, it's great for announcers that you've got distinctive crash helmets, distinctive races. However, Mr. and Mrs. Kidd, Mike, Darren has got a great Husia racing. It is pink with white stripe, with white blotches on it. It makes him very, very easy to spot on track, but round the paddock, he's not a happy chap.
Is he not?
No. Well, he's got a pink race suit with white blotches on it. And we're not running Husia tyres.
I thought pink was in nowadays, no?
Well, I mean, it is, but not when you're 12 years
All
old
right.
and running around the paddock with all your... but easy to spot on circuit, that's the main thing. Parker Ives, the man on the screen, he's easy to spot because he's fastest, 52.140.
But a 10th on Benja Fernandez for Ives. Royce Vega currently in the 3rd spot. Ashton Woon, Maxwell Macha, we talked about before. Macha looking to step things up. And again, we always watch so much development for these drivers through coming from micro up into mini, and how fast do they find their way into the lead group. As we continue to follow Parker Ives, who had that tank slapper coming over the curbing on the opening lap. He's going to see if he can't get another good lap in here. Lap 3, lap 4. Again, lap 3 and 4, the key ones. Number of drivers not able to maximize lap 4 thus far. Fernandez now to the top of the chart. Julian Rivera getting some speed, as does Marco Samet. He'll go to 3rd. Troy Ferguson 4th. So Parker Ives not able to capitalize any quicker on lap number 3. That'll allow him to drop down to P5 ahead of Jackson Woon. But up front now, Benja Fernandez, who has inherited the point lead with Truchot and Simone now running over in Europe. He's got P1, but here comes the final lap.
Yes, indeed. Fernandez, Rivera, Samut, Ferguson, Ives, and Woon with Mika Baruch, Royce Vega, Maxwell Macha, Josh Bergman, the rest of the top 10. Who has got the best run on this last lap? Now you can see Ives, the 3rd of those 3 cards on your screen. He's just behind the 143 of Troy Ferguson. That's not a bad place to be. Oh, it's a bad place. Into the barriers goes Parker Ives, and he comes back across the track into the path of, I think, was at the 174. 174. That's Maxwell Macha. Drivers up and out of the carts. That's the first thing. And of course, everyone behind will have their laps spoiled because there'll be yellow flags. Benja Fernandez, top of the charts, and Julian Rivera, the flying condor from Ecuador. Apparently, on the Ecuadorian flag, there's a bird. It's a condor.
All right.
It flies higher than any other bird, and it's bigger than any other bird. Although the vultures have got something to say about it. So the flying condor, as Julian would like to be known as.
Parker Ives still a little wide coming out of turn number 11. The 10, 11, 12 combination got wide, just got into the barriers there, and as it clipped him, moved him around, he went backwards on the track, and of course then the kind of rotated back through with the wheel, and Maxwell Macha with actually nowhere to go, and Macha was not able to, of course, to capitalize, and only got the 3 laps in. He was trying to get that flyer, and again, we know that that Ives was trying to get in there as well. Benja Fernandez ends up with the fastest lap, but very interesting. Only one driver in the top 10 going faster on lap number 4, and that was Valentino Santillan, who works his way up into the top 10. Everybody else still standing on their lap number 3 pace. So Benja Fernandez Julian Rivera, Marco Samet, the top three. Let's have a look at the replay of what happened here. You'll watch Parker Ives having just a little bit of trouble as he comes through that corner. Just a bit too wide, trying to hold the speed out there, and there's the spin backwards and nowhere to go for Maxwell Macha.
Yeah, Macha, the first driver on the scene, and of course you're looking at, Ives is backwards of the track, and you think, well, you should have just put the brake on and not roll back. Well, he's in the centre of the track. He thinks probably the safest way to be is on the outside of the track, and it was just an unfortunate thing. But the main thing, drivers are okay. And also we had a shot there of Kart chases Colin Cuthbertson, and now we can confirm he does know how to tie his own shoelaces.
So again, great one there for Benja Fernandez, who took over the point lead, and a great way to start off the day. It means he'll roll off from P1 in the pre-final set to go today at 11:15. Now we have, I believe, our first of two groups for KA100 Junior, Sodi Racing USA, the sponsor of the category, and this is going to be another tremendous battle in this KA100 senior class.
Yes, indeed. I can see the drivers there directly behind us. Notice there that Noah Rosser has got the Ward Racing racesuit on. So the driver's obviously been to Europe, done a lot of racing in the likes of WSK or the CIK FIA, international championships.
Take an opportunity to say hello to those of you who are tuning in to the Kart Chaser broadcast here. Again, the fantastic, beautiful blue skies starting to work their way here in Homestead, Florida. The final two rounds of the Super Kart USA Winter Series. And again, those of you tuning in, I just got a text my good friend Mark French. They are watching and listening at Aero McLaren, the shop back in Indianapolis. They are, of course, ready to get rolling for the season at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg in early March. So Mark, of course, a longtime karter with his son Jake, has been around with PSL karting. But so tuning in on the big TV there at Aero McLaren. Say hello to all those drivers there. So many of them, of course, all former kart racers, right? With David Malukas, Pato Award, Alexander Rossi, all former American kart racers.
Exactly, and from Europe, the likes of Rinus VK, or Rinus van Kalmhout, as we used to know him before he went there.
That's it.
The likes of Callum Eilert, no, not in the series this year, and Jack Harvey again moving on, but again from names that I'm very familiar with from the UK.
Let's make the connection as well to Super Kart USA. Pato Award, a former Super Nationals winner. David Malukas, an X30 Junior winner on the Super Kart USA Pro Tour. So both those drivers, Pato and David, former Super Kart USA champions. And yeah, indeed, so many great karters. That's one of the things we love doing every year on ekartingnews.com. I'm not sure if you saw it or not, but we do a grid for the Indianapolis 500
I love that.
Of all their karts, right? So
absolutely love
that David Cole had an idea a couple of years ago, and we love doing that. So again, Jack Harvey, again, you talked about all the racing he did, but and Rinus van Kalmhout, who did a lot of racing here, came around the Rotax program over here in the Winter Series before jumping into the USF Pro Championship.
And of course, I saw a tweet from Scott McLaughlin. Why has his car got ruby red on it every year? Because his first ever go-kart was ruby red.
I love that. That's fantastic. And that's the first time I met Scott, actually. He would come over to the Super Nationals quite a bit to be part of the action there. So indeed, the connection from karting all the way through the professional ranks of motorsports is very deep, as we know. And listen, again, we talked about it during the Super Nationals, rolling in there, how many drivers who are current Formula One racers who spent a lot of time at the Super Nats, from, you roll all the way through the grid, from Max Verstappen through to Charles Leclerc, winners like Lance Stroll and George Russell, all winners there as well. So indeed, the connection with Super Kart USA and so many forms of pro-level racing is very high.
And George was out testing a kart. He was out racing a kart. He's allowed one day in a kart a year.
Is that the contract?
His contract allows him one day a year, and he was out, I believe it was at Lonato, or he was somewhere in Italy testing. And of course, Carlos Sainz has just brought out his own brand of chassis, part of the OTK group. And you just look at the names, we talk. So Lando Norris, Daniel Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz have all got, Charles Leclerc have all got chassis. Robert Kubica had a chassis. Even Lewis Hamilton had a chassis at one point, although
he did.
It wasn't very good. Anyway, we'll move. But the connection to the highest levels of motorsport on both sides of the pond and karting are, I think, closer than ever.
Yeah, Logan Sargent, another former Super Nationals winner as well, who, of course, had a fantastic year last year for Williams. So, again, looking forward to so many. That's the other thing about the Winter Series, right? It depends on what sport you're in. If you're a baseball guy, you're waiting for April. Masters coming if you're a golf guy as well. But for racing, that February, March kind of for all of us, right? Formula One, IndyCar, MotoGP, whatever it may be. we've been we've been hibernating through the winter to a certain extent. Time to go pro racing as well.
Yeah, you get a little appetizer with the Rolex 24 Hours
True.
and Sebring and things like that. But the entrees are all served up in early March. Of course, not to mention the Daytona 500.
Let's talk about the 500 too. Yeah,
Sign the 500.
and again, you go back to the 500 with former Supercars USA race winners like AJ Allmendinger
Yep.
and Michael McDowell, who have all won races in Supercars USA competition. Jamie McMurray ran with us for a number of years as well. And indeed, the connections are all there for sure.
So we're just waiting. You can be looking at palm trees in the background here at the AMR Homestead-Miami Motorplex. And the track is being cleared. Some barrier repair going down at the turn 11 and 12 area.
So, folks, don't go anywhere right now. Again, we know we have qualifying set to go. As Henry said, some work being done to the racetrack. Don't go anywhere, folks. More to come live here on Kart Chaser.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website?
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental US.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop AKR.com.
So right with the time schedule, so it wasn't actually track work. We're right on the schedule here. We didn't have to split that mini category. So sticking with our time-specific schedule, 9:35 was scheduled start time for KA100 Senior. Same goes for the Micro at 9:50, KA100 Master at 10:05, X30 Junior 10:15, X30 Senior 10:30, and 10:45 for Pro and Master Shifter before an 11 o'clock start time for the first of 4 pre-finals that will run before we head to the lunch break at noon. 12 lap for the pre-finals, 10 laps for those pre-finals for the cadet categories, Micro and Mini. First of 2 groups for KA100 Senior on the track right now. This category brought to you by Sodi Racing USA. We've seen fast laps coming essentially lap 3, lap 4, but not everybody able to maximize the pace on the final circuit. Rob Howden here alongside Henry Beaudet as we roll through qualifying, just getting things underway. The drivers all trying to line things up here. So indeed, KA100 Senior on track. We'll see which drivers draw first blood here, coming across the line to lay those fast laps down. Alec Udell went quick. Logan Adams was up there as well. Azir Torres Jr. in the 998. Only the opening lap. Drivers getting those first circuit in. A lot of times, I don't know about you, Henry, but when I'm out there, my first lap's always just me trying to get where I need to be comfort-wise, not trying to press the tires too much.
Yeah, I actually got in a 2-seater cart at the Orlando Kart Center to give a young man, disabled young man, a bit of a thrill ride around the circuit. It's amazing how quickly you get back into it. And yeah, I'm thinking, I'm in a rental cart. I don't need to warm the tires. I'm good to go. But yeah, even at this level, the first lap is a sighting lap. You look after your tires. Make sure you don't hit anything, make sure the cart is dialed in, and then, you have a quick check around to see where you are on the track, who you're running with, who you're going to be following, and this is the slower group of drivers. Spencer Mast. There's a name, that's no relation to Rick Mast. I wonder. We'll have a little look there. It's always fascinating, because in racing, we're one big extended family in racing. The apple never falls too far from the tree. It's Azir Torres Jr., 49.71, Joseph Botting, Lorenzo Kaufman, Rob Kaufman, another name from racing.
So P5 right now is Logan Adams, and that is the family from Newcastle Motorsports Park. That is Mark Dismore's grandson. Logan will run in the USF Pro 2000 category this year in the USF Pro Championship. So Logan currently P5, getting a chance to get a karting event in here, running with the Rawlison Performance Group. Yep, I saw
Mike and his wife, lovely wife, are here as well, saying, well, welcome, can't wait to get back to Newcastle later on this year. Further down the order, Pierce Jaso running in P14. Alec Udell is 13th. Juan Felipe Martinez. Autumn Fisher, Ty Fisher's older sister. This is only her 5th kart race ever. She's been racing for about 6 months, but this is her 5th meeting. And she's learning the ropes again. Throw her into the deep end, sink or swim. No time to sort of get the grip, so she's taking the rough with the smooth, but also she's progressing, a lot. Just behind Jason there in front of Christian Blevins Jr.
Checker flag being thrown here by our starter Aaron Likens, and I know you mentioned Newcastle Motorsports Park. Sadly, I will not be with you at that event because I have a conflict for the Rotax event in August. That's a shame, but it'll be the finale for the USF Pro Championship in Portland. I know you enjoy your time at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Torres has been at the top of the charts the entire time. His lap 2 pace of 49.710 has stood throughout the entire lap. Very surprising to me that no one was able to find speed. Joseph Botting, his second lap, the fastest as well. So for first and second, lap 2, the best they could muster.
So to me, that says that they put the pressures up on that kart to get it out there to get maximum performance, early, and then of course the tyres will start to overheat. And but they've run one heat cycle through those Lamanto the Enrico tyres. I believe they are.
Jared Clark and Alec Udell, 3rd and 4th, and Spencer Mast rounding out your top 5.
Yeah, indeed. So we'll now see how far up Azir Torres Jr. can get when the top group of KA100 seniors, but a quick rundown. Torres Junior, Botting, Clark, Udell, Mast, Kaufman, Dominic Karai 7th, Quinton McPherson, Logan Adams, Aiden Shimbashi, the rest of the top 10, Ibrahim Din, Juan Felipe Martinez, John McCusker, Christian Blevins Jr., Pierce Jaso, Luca Quattromano, Orton Fisher, Michael Boyadzis, and CJ Oman.
Fast group on the racetrack right now. We'll see where Torres ends up slotting in with his 49.710. Again, KA100 senior on the racetrack. Drivers in the Micro Swift category rolling out here now to get things underway.
And of course, with the more experience come the usual fun and games that you associate with qualifying.
I
despise this. Number one, in terms of safety, because you'll get a driver on a flying lap coming across a very slow car, and that could cause a serious accident. But I mean, number two, it's like just get out there and go, guys. You're in the fast group for a reason. The drivers that have just been out, they'll all be sort of putting their hands together and thinking, yes, you just keep slowing each other down. This is great news for us.
Well, that's what really bothers me when they're out there doing this. If there's somebody coming through on a flyer and they have to kind of check up, I think everybody in that group should be penalized, personally in my mind, because it just drives me absolutely insane that a guy could be out there on a flyer and have to check up because everybody's playing their games out there going at quarter speed.
However, it does show the level of technical ability and how important it is, because there's a driver there, number 984, getting run a little bit wide, but of course they spend so much time setting the carts up for one key lap. The sport is so close and so competitive, it's that important for the drivers to do that. Whether it always works, who knows.
Fastest driver on the outlap, Alessandro Di Tullio, slotting into 16th with a 50.572. Still 8/10 off of the fast lap laid down by Torres, but they're going to be all coming on lap number 2. We already saw that happen in KA100 Junior. Lap 2 was enough for the second group to go to P1. We'll see what happens here as the drivers just start to slot things in. Again, other driver up there as well, Stephen Miller, in the number 973. He goes 18th.
And there is Miller. So Miller's got clear track, however.
With Di Tullio right behind him.
But Di Tullio, like we saw with Ardiles in one of the other classes, Garzon. Miller is the head of the wagon train, and everyone else is following him. So Miller's got clear track, but Tullio's got that all-important slipstream, and everyone else now jockeying for position behind. Here we go. Now the order starts to change.
Yeah, indeed, up into the top 10 for both Miller and Di Tullio, but it was first Mick Gabriel going to P1, then Steven Eisert, the Californian on the Sony Kart machine. Steven Eisert goes to the top with a 49.599, 28 thousandths quicker than Gabriel. Torres still holding on to third. Colin Lloyd now up into fourth. Noah Rosser fifth. James Overbeck in sixth. I want to say he was third yesterday in happy hour. Donovan Bonilla as well up into the 8th position. So drivers starting to make their mark. 2 more laps still to go.
And there's a video that we filmed about who the drivers think are going to win the Super Bowl. You need to watch James Overbeck's answer. It's very, very funny indeed. Let's just stay tuned on Kart Chaser for that clip. And Stephen Miller and Di Tullio top of the charts. Bonilla goes fast, 49.21. It's Bonilla, Miller, Gabriel, Di Tullio, Weinberg, Eisert, Overbeek, Mercado, and suddenly Eisert Torres down to 9th position, and further down now, down to 12th.
Torres still holding on there right now. Where's Torres down to? P12, like you said. 49.7. Still a couple of drivers behind him. Chase Passaglia and Ivana Richards looking to drop him down a couple more spots. Lap 3 in the books. Here comes your final circuit here. Checker flag in the hands of Aaron Likens. Drivers will work their way back around. Does anybody have anything for Donovan Bonilla? Dono on top right now in the 980. A 49.212 over Miller, Gabriel, Di Tullio, and Noah Rosser. Checker flag flying. Here we go. Stephen Miller goes to the top. 49.109 for Stephen Miller to P1. Di Tullio goes to second. Bonilla back to third. Again, another driver not able to capitalize on the final circuit.
Yeah, Miller, impressive indeed, because of course Di Tullio had that toe, had that slipstream. That's a power move if ever there was one from the Nash Motorsport driver. Again, first year senior driver.
he's going to have to take his lumps, you know, here and there, you know, but yeah, the other drivers are going to start out to get used to, can we trust this guy? Can we work with him? Yeah. Is he going to be an ultra aggressive from the word go, or, you know, and that's something that, yeah, Miller's going to have to go through, but the other drivers, their job is going to be, first we got to get past this guy to see how he races.
James Overbeck, as I had said, pretty impressive as well. Lap 4 moves him up into the 4th spot. Nick Gabriel ends up in 5th. Noah Rosser 6th. Cameron Weinberg up into 7th. Stephen Eisert, who was pole at one point, back into the 8th spot. Colin Lloyd in 9th. And Ivana Richards rounding out the top 10.
Yep, so Richards not out of the title chase by any stretch of the imagination. And looking down to see Ashley Torres, P15. That's a net gain of, you know, 10 positions.
Pretty impressive, yeah.
Pretty impressive indeed. Joseph Botting also hanging on from the slower group, and Jared Clark as well. So all of the top 20 does mean, however, that you have some pretty big names further down the order. Let's have a look. Logan Adams, 28th. Martinez, Seamus McKendry down the order. But I mean, another strong group. Austin Garrison not going out.
Yeah, Austin's not racing this weekend.
Oh, he's not.
At least what I know on the weather now was, yeah, I don't think he's running this weekend.
Okay, he's here.
Yep.
But he's obviously a late scratch.
So again, as we said, folks, we are on a time-specific schedule. 9:50 scheduled start time for Micro Swift. That's 3 minutes from now, so a little bit of a break here.
Yep.
Again, all that time built into the schedule. If you do have a kind of an issue, then we have that time to work through. Also, if you're working in the paddock, you know exactly what time you need to be up here to roll out. That's one of the beauties of the time-specific schedule.
Yep.
Heck, if you know you can go for lunch, come back knowing exactly what time you're going to be on the racetrack. And that kind of structure is what Supercarts USA does through the Pro Tour. That's why you do it here as well. If you're a young driver or anybody new, you talked about somebody new coming to an event, you run the Winter Series here, you know the procedures if you're going to go to a Pro Tour race.
Yeah, absolutely. The first time anybody ever turns up at a national event, it's more stressful, you know, you're running around more, not because the program's any different, just because you're feeling that extra pressure. And, you know, this avoids that sort of, oh, well, I thought I was going to be on the grid at 5-2, but you've gone out early and I'm stuck here. And, you know, so that's good to see. So a couple of minutes before we are underway with Micro Swift. And just a chance, the sun is now shining once again.
There's that blue sky I talked about.
There it is, yeah. You know, I don't fly back till Monday, so, you know, just stick my arm up the tent here just to get the trucker's tan, as it were.
Again, good qualifying session there for the drivers in the KA100 Senior class. Micro up next. We'll follow that with KA100 Master at 10:05, X30 Junior at 10:15, X30 Senior at 10:30, and Pro and Master Shifter at 10:45. 11 o'clock start time, Henry, for our first of 4 pre-finals before we go into the lunch break. The drivers in the KA100 Junior category.
Yep.
We'll get things underway first, and for the first time, we'll see. We know how this track races, but we're going to see who gets aggressive early.
Yeah, we will. And of course, you know, the drivers have had days testing, but the viewers, of course, you saw us run counterclockwise 3 weeks ago. Now we're running clockwise. That's something that I'm learning. A lot of tracks at the USA that we don't do in Europe is you run. I mean, Newcastle do it. You can run both clockwise and counterclockwise. You know, that's, in some respects, that's the beauty of having temporary circuits, because barriers are movable and you're not designing the track. Because often when you design a circuit to run one direction and then you try and look at the other way, it creates safety issues. Indeed. Because barriers are, you know, in certain positions for a reason.
Yeah, and a track like Newcastle with so many different permutations, right? I want to say there's like 30 or 40 or 50 different layouts that they're able to run. There are more that they've run over the years. There, Supercarts USA for the Summer Nationals has run a ton of different configurations. Now there are some favorites. Let's be real. There are some drivers like, yeah, I don't like running that one. I do like running that one. But yeah, I think every once in a while, especially when you're at a track like here, where both races of the Winter Series are at one venue, it's nice to kind of swap things up.
Indeed, yeah. And personally, I'm a great proponent that a national series should have all different types of tracks. You should have the temporary car park layout. You should have the usual European-style road course.
So again, the drivers here in this mini Swift class, or Micro Swift class rather, getting ready to roll out. But we got a quick interview with a driver who was super quick there in KA100 Senior. Let's send it down to Alexander Searle.
Thank you, Rob. we'll go from there. Yeah, I mean, your first weekend in X30 Senior as well got a bit of a help there with AM. P5 in the warm-up. You're feeling pretty confident heading to the weekend in your first weekend in X30?
I think so. I think I can qualify P1 in that too. I just got to get a good lap in.
Describe to me, right, the what it takes to kind of get used to that X30. It's a little bit different to the KA. You haven't tested on it at all, so to be top 5, it must feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The only thing I have to get used to mainly is the yellows. They're a lot different than the reds, in my opinion. There's a lot more grip in it, and the tires fall off way earlier.
All right, and good luck, Steven.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Alex and Stephen Miller. Looking at the Micro Swift drivers, they're on their first real flying lap. And again, this is a class where you're going to see an awful lot of slipstreaming. The toe here, especially down this long back straightaway, the front straightaway, there's 4 really big sort of passing zones. And once again, the micros are split into 2 groups, so this will be the slower of the drivers after happy hour practice. Nico Salazar, Liam Francisco, Brody Stoffel, Patricio Pena, Parker Stewart, Dominic Gaddis, Dutch Westbrook, and Thomas Montalvo, who has the lead. Now, looking at Montalvo, Thomas Montalvo, 28th in the point standings at the moment. Salazar is 17th, 24th in points. So none of the real front runners in this group, but everyone wanting to try and get themselves up in the top. There's 19 drivers in this group and a full grid of 38.
Yeah, so the first group drivers rolling out here from happy hour. Again, during happy hour, we split those based on the times to 2 groups. The first of 2 groups rolling out here for the drivers in this Micro Swift category. So indeed, now up top, Dominic Gaddis goes P1 over Brody Stoffel and Nico Salazar. Samuel Chiavari and Liam Francisco, top 5.
There is Gaddis at 59.963. Logan Arteta is in this group. He's 15th in points, so probably not where he wants to be. Alex Capitan Garduno as well, a rough time in the opening weekend. He finds himself back in this group alongside the likes of Zev Godshalt. Now Zev, he's one of the drivers from Curaçao, was involved in a big accident here on Thursday with a couple of other drivers, everyone walking away, but new frames going down. There was a nasty crash, but all the drivers hobbling away and they're okay.
Dominic Gaddis up top right now is the fastest driver on lap number 3, so final circuit here for qualifying for the first of 2 groups in this 38 kart Micro Swift category. Again, Micro Swift presented by Team U-Race. 53.658 for Gaddis, but let's see what we have. Well, actually, with the slower lap times, we may only get the 3 laps in. So indeed, 4 laps for the faster classes. Again, that shorter window, 53.658. Dominic Gaddis with the fastest of the first group. Brody Stoffel ends up in second. Thomas Montalvo in the back. He was P1 at one point, back to third. Parker Stewart and Liam Francisco rounding out the fast 5.
So, there's one driver off at the side of the circuit. And that kart has not been on all 4 wheels. That's the number 288 kart. That is Marco Burgess. And someone has driven over the front of that kart there. And I saw Marco walking off holding his wrist, which tells me that somebody's run across there and maybe he's taken a rear tire or something to it. I hope that young Marco is okay.
I'm sure he'll get his way back to the scales, and we'll make sure that an EMT is there to take care of him. Whatever happened to Marcos Burgess there. He's 14th in the order there with a 55.269 fast lap.
Now that happened going up into turn number 9, and I'm guessing that a driver on the inside of Burgess then side by side, and there was a little bit of contact, and the back end of the driver on the inside went up and over the front of the car, knocked the NASA panel off, and maybe has clipped Marco's right hand, which is the one that he was holding. So Dominic Gaddis, 53.658, Stoffel, Montalvo, Chiavari, Stewart, Byron Bourneman, Francisco, Salazar, Garduno, and Dutch Westbrook. They are your top 10.
So again, the next group of drivers getting set to roll out. We'll look at the racers that we saw potentially work their way to the top of the chart. Zane Burgess, as we know, very quick as well. Danny O'Gara, Santiago Orioli, Liam Nachawati, second year in this micro category. Jake Maniolio's been good. So those are the drivers we expect to work their way to the top. Still time to come, though. Again, micro Swift drivers have just rolled their first group into the scales. After this, we will go into a good run of KA100 Master, X30 Junior, X30 Senior, and Pro and Master Shifter.
Yeah, there's a chance to look down at a couple of the drivers on the grid there. It's always fascinating, the different crash helmet designs. At this young age, I can't remember, there's a couple of drivers out there with Pokemon crash helmets, which is great. It's unique, and it belies the fact that we're in an adult sport where the participants do very adult things at the highest level. It just so happens that most of the participants are children.
Indeed. All right, so it's a 53.658. Dominic Gaddis, the provisional pole sitter, just over a tenth quicker than Brody Stoffel on that last lap of 53.791. That time, 53.658, would likely have put Gaddis somewhere around 17th, inside the top 10 for sure in happy hour. So I think, again, we talked about the fact that the pole sitters that we've seen so far in these split groups really have had net gains.
Yeah, indeed. You know, it shows that they either could have had trouble or just, at this age, the driver just, may have missed it ever so slightly. We'll have to see it, of course. Not every driver in this fast group will get the setup right for the session, will get the track position right. We might have a couple of issues. So Gaddis, Stoffel, and Montalvo all looking for top 20 starts for the pre-final.
Next group is on the track, as you can see. We'll see which ones dial things in. Looking at the laps, again, as I said before, not many drivers were able to get that fourth lap in. I want to say a couple did. Samuel Chiavari able to do it. You go further down to Nico Salazar, Nolan Carney, Patricio Pena. Those were the drivers first off the grid.
Yep.
They got at it. They didn't mess around. They were able to sneak that fourth lap in. And only two drivers were able to leverage it, Samuel Chiavari and Byron Bourneman as well.
Yeah, so the key is get out early and just take off, which is exactly what that Sony Kart on our screen. I think that might be Zane Burgess. Can't quite make the number out. It's the, looks like, yeah, it is, with the half American, half Jamaican design on his crash helmet. Number 255 of championship leader Zane Burgess. He is out there. He's going to get his 4 laps in. He's not worried about a slipstream. That, to me, Rob, says confidence in the motor, the kart, and the driver. He's not worried about chasing anybody. He's happy to let others chase him. It's like, right, boys, come and get me.
And you're coming off a great weekend already, right? So he's got the confidence. He knows what he can get to get the job done. He's been quick as well in warm-up, so watch for Zane Burgess to put laps down here very quickly. Again, maybe 4 laps, maybe 3. It all depends on how quickly you get off the grid and how quickly you are in your first couple of laps as well. You got to put those times down, and indeed we'll see which drivers are able to get out. In fact, at one point, Zane Burgess, I think on his opening lap, was like 7th. So Win Godchak, actually the fastest driver on the out lap, goes right to 3rd over Luca Barrichello and Leo Simoni.
Yeah, and that's the earliest in all the classes that have been split that we have seen drivers break into the top 10 on the opening lap. That's not great news for Gaddis and Stoffel, I have to say.
No, very true. These drivers coming out quickly. In fact, 5 drivers there go from 3rd to 8th. Godchuk, Besserell, Simoni, Alvaro Medeiros, and Danny O'Gara all quickly into the top 7 on the opening circuit. So Gaddis, like we said, let's see if 17th. The guys here in production said probably 17th is where Gaddis would have lined up. We'll see where that ends up when we're done with this session here. And it's going to be a short one, as we know. They're going to get 3, maybe 4 laps in the books. They're going to come over to put lap number 2 in. Liam Nakawati goes to the top. Simoni goes to the top. Win Godchak back to the top again.
Yeah, we're watching the Team Bennett driver on that, and he's got a perfect slipstream. He's got a couple of drivers in front of him, and that's the perfect length you want to be. You don't want to be right up behind the driver like you'll see in the races where you're almost like slipstreaming and bump drafting. You want to be able to tow yourself along. And we've got a quick announcement to go out to the paddock, Rob.
Yeah, please, the parents of driver number 288, if you could go to the medic, please. The driver of 288, please go to the medic.
Yeah, that would be Marco Burgess. So obviously the medic's with Marco Burgess. So for the parents of 288, please go to the medics. Godshog, let's have a look. Godshogs are only Gaddis down to 9th. Okay,
That's good still.
That's still good. That's still good. But we'll see as now. Lawrence Perriman's up into the top 6 as well. But Godshog on that Bennett cart there, just allowing the others to tow him around. And now he's got a problem though, because he's coming on the Orsolon cart, so that is quite close.
And the checker flag just got thrown. I was looking out there at Aaron Krabinski, now up into the top 5. And here we go. Of course, like all of you at home, relying on Race Hero and not getting the update at this point here to find out indeed what happened.
Well, we're just trying to add to the suspense, Rob. It's all part of the plan to keep you, the viewers, back home on tenterhooks, keeping the mechanics and the parents on tenterhooks. The drivers, well, you know, they're just out on the circuit having fun.
We're the same way. We're sitting here hanging on it to find out who is going to go P1 here. And indeed, potentially looking at
I'm looking at it, yeah.
I think the screen's okay. Win Godshock on top of the screen. That means Danny O'Gara has gone up into 2nd spot. Liam Nakawati into 3rd. Orioli in 4th. And Madero's 5th. So it looks like we're good to go on what you're seeing on the screen. Not so much on Race Hero.
Zane Burgess, 8th fastest for the championship leader.
Yeah.
So work to do for the Jamaican sensation.
Indeed, great run though there for Win Godshock, though P1 by just over 1/10 of a second. Danny O'Gara on the MPG machine rolls up into 2nd. There's your unofficial qualifying results for the drivers here in this Micro Swift category. Godshock, O'Gara, Nakawati, Orioli, and Alvaro Madero's rounding out your Fast 5. Leo Simone ends up in 6th. Luca Besserell in 7th spot. So indeed, drivers have worked their way into the scales. The next group set to go. What time do we have for KA100 Master? It's 2 minutes time. 10:05 scheduled start time.
And I have to say, looking at the timing and scoring ticker, once again, Kart Chaser in association with Alpha Live in the UK are being able to bring you the team logos, the team graphics. If anybody hasn't got their team logo on there, you have been asked. It's info@kartchaser.com to send your team graphic to the team here at Kart Chaser. There is a look at is it the infield loop we've got here, the inner loop? Certainly the paddock in the background there, the palm trees, unmistakable South Florida scenery.
That's turn 2, 3, back into 4, which leads into the inner loop 5 and 6, indeed. So that's the box, I call it, in the back part of the racetrack. And this track's been around for a long time. I want to say 28 years. I think 1996 it was first built. I drove it back in 2001 in the early years of the Superkarts USA Winter Tour. So I personally love it. So, again, it's a simple racetrack. It's flat. There's no elevation changes, right? It's essentially a permanent temporary parking lot course. The first time I came here, and even though you mentioned it earlier, Henry, a lot of 90-degree corners, but I feel it's just got some great flow because of it.
I agree.
That's what I love about it. And the hairpins are tough. The inner loop's super tough as well. So, indeed, this is a track that's going to challenge these drivers. A lot of chance to overtake. We do have some time, folks, before the KA100 Masters drivers roll out. Let's cut to a quick break. We'll be back live here on Kart Chaser.
I need a new 219 chain. I need a 77 tooth roof sprocket. I need some more chain lube, and I need it probably as soon as like tomorrow. Dude, are you even listening? Like, we need this to run this weekend.
Want anything else?
What do you mean?
I already got it in the Kart on Acceleration Kart Racing's online store, bro. All orders over $200 get free shipping.
Oh, throw in a set of tires.
Done.
Everything you need, all in one place, and shipped to your door for free on orders of 2.
Phone or at home on your laptop. Looks like Race Hero back up and running once again. Diego Ardiles.
Now that's giving us...
that's a different... No, that's after 3 laps.
Yeah, that's giving
not
us
the
3
whole
laps.
session.
So we're a little bit behind there on Race Hero. Let's have a little look down the grid. Some of the personalities. There's the Nash Motorsport. There's Blake Nash. A big victory sign there for Blake. I have to say, those Nash Motorsport karts, that blue, that really does pop, I've got to say, on the camera and in the sunshine as well. Tio and Elio from the Nash Motorsports group. And it's further back. Now, there's a team that I really like, Vice Racing. They've got that 80s Miami Vice style look about them. There are rumors they want to get some race suits made in the style of Hobbs and Tubbs.
Crockett and Tubbs?
Crockett and Tubbs, yeah. All they need is a white Ferrari 355 and some big shoulder pads. Let's go. There's Thomas Deveau, speaking of Canadians, the NASCAR Pinty Series driver. And Thomas keeping his hand in, as so many other drivers during the off-season, you know, keeping their reaction sharp.
And he was right in the middle of the fight last race here in January as well. He very quick there, running with Trinity Karting Group on the Kart Republic chassis. So again, expecting that Deveau will be part of the fight once again. You can see he's not quite rolling out here with the initial group. So 2 groups here for the drivers here in our X30 Senior category, and of course wrapping things up for qualifying before we go to wheel racing. In about a half an hour from now, 11 o'clock scheduled start time for the pre-final for KA100 Junior. At that point, you got to be dialed into the Kart Chaser Premium membership program, so you can do that online.
And some of the little... And yeah, let's have a look. So the number 15 kart there, and this is some of the little subtle changes that I do like. So the pro stuff, sort of the pro classes, you've seen all the other classes, they've got like 3 digits. Now we are down to just 2 digits, which I think which will make it easier for marketing purposes, or for, you know, for timing and scoring purposes. Just these subtle little changes as SKUSA sort of embrace this sort of, you know, the pro show, which we're going to see debut later this year, and making, you know, more of these personalities shine through.
Indeed, the pro show program coming from Kart Chaser to focus on the primary pro categories, and kind of changing up the schedule for many of the series here in 2024. Again, looking to see which drivers dial things in here early in our X30 Senior. The first of 2 groups onto the racetrack right now to get things underway. Live timing still not quite up to 100% yet. I know they're working on getting things dialed in live timing wise. So
we're looking at Dalton Haynes there, who doesn't appear, so he was a late entry. So I got this, there's Haynes, and Dalton Haynes in the slow group. That's not very, oh, and a problem there for number 16, that's Christian Garduno on the RPG Cosmic chassis, who was ground to a halt. But so yeah, so you'll have to excuse us, ladies and gentlemen. There are, you know, some mice at the machinery, so to speak, and that's where we haven't got the ticker, we haven't got timing and scoring. But again, there we're looking at Stephen Miller deciding to do both classes in Pro X30 and the other one.
He talked about that in his interview, that he figured he's going to be good in this one too.
Yeah, no, he said he's good. So Yinjian Zhu will be in this group, the driver from Japan. Now, there was a driver here testing from China. I said, you know, that was Junhao Xin and Junhao Zhao, sorry. And I said to him, are you racist? He goes, no, I have to go back to China, Chinese New Year, and it's the year of the dragon, that's my year, so we're going to go back to celebrate that. So happy Chinese New Year to all our friends and viewers from China. But we're watching the AM Racing kart there, as slowly but surely timing and scoring is getting itself back up into a position. Haynes quickest, unsurprisingly, I have to say, in this group, with Lucas Nanji, Mr. Hotz there, the Hotz, Josh Hotz, sorry, the German name, and the Hotz racing program, the training program. Oh, and something has happened there to Dalton Haynes' NASA panel. I think that somebody on that team has forgotten to bolt a rather important bolt together.
It's a possibility. Haynes P1, but the issue there we see, Nanji runs in second, Josh Oates in third, Garcia and Chan round out your top 5. Stephen Miller, who said he was going to be good here in this category, currently 6th spot, so work to do for Stephen Miller in the number 73.
I've got to say, impressive there, overtaking the driver whilst holding the steering with one hand and your NASA panel with the other, but of course, now, is that going to be a technical issue? It's still attached. Let's have a look.
I don't think so.
Haynes, Nanji, Hooks, Garcia, Chan, Miller, So Miller said he was going to be good, maybe not quite as good as he thought he was going to be, being in the slow group. As
he does go to second, where we're seeing here.
Yes, now, what we're seeing on our screens and what you are seeing on the ticker, ladies and gentlemen, matches up. Brian Garcia, 47.995.
Yeah, final lap for him, good one.
Yeah, the only driver under 48 seconds. And Stephen Miller, Dalton Haynes, James Stegman, Lucas Nanji, Kimi Chan, Josh Hutz, Santiago Fernandez, the top 8, Maximo Tomagino, Henry Lepard, Gabriel Baldwin, Austin Perrin, Christian Garduno, and then Mr. Minjan Zhu, the top 14. So 28 drivers in X30 Pro, 27 or 28. Look at 29 drivers in total. Brian Garcia, but I think we're expecting times to come down.
Yeah, lots more pace still to come, right? Garcia was quickest in the first group with a 47.995. Both Miller and Haynes are not going to be thrilled with the fact that there could potentially be over a half a second off. We'll see what kind of pace rolls out when we wrap things up here with this next group. But again, the big guns here are rolling out. An X30 Senior. This category brought to you by Speed Lab Racing Engines. And again, Garcia on the provisional pole, 47.995. But again, all the guns getting ready to roll out here. Donovan Bonilla, Brandon Carr, DeTulio, Norberg. Keep going through the order, right, of all these drivers we expect to go. Nash, Naveau, Harley Keeble. Even Jacob Kolar was so good back in January. I want to see him step back up and be right back where he was when we were here in January.
Yeah, Kolar, a driver, the Vice Racing team. We've got 3 drivers here. Kolar pole sitter for the opening rounds of this championship. And you've got the big names, you've got the big teams here, but you've also got some other teams, not as many karts. They're just doing very well. They're being very professional. The equipment they've got is all on point. The drivers are talented, and they're showing that you don't have to be one of the big teams to be up at the sharp end.
Let's see who draws first blood here in the X30 Senior category. We saw lap 2 was kind of enough in a couple of the other split classes. We'll see whether or not that works here. But again, a 47.995, I believe a low 47.2, we think fast time. Look at this, a couple drivers have pulled off. That's Norberg. He's pulled out of the action, does not want it there. He's got one of his drivers with him. It looks like Kolar, I think, potentially sliding in behind him. No, I think he's sliding in behind him. No, that's Sarathi. Wise move for Sarathi from the very tail. Was able to see it. Hey, be happy to go with Norberg.
Exactly, and of course Norberg can't then shake Sarathi off, because your time is ticking down. You've already potentially lost 1 lap, so that's Norberg saying, okay, I'm only going to do 3 laps. So I'm going to make 1 lap count, and that's it. And that's where the champions are. You've got one shot only, and Sarathi's thinking, well, okay, I'll sit behind you. And they haven't got another time to sort of slow down and shake Sarathi off. So let's see where that number 10 Vice Racing kart, Satvik Sarathi, ends up.
There's the 46 there, Kolar kind of leading that group. Again, we'll see where we are. The first drivers coming in, Thomas Naveau and Christian Garduno. Thomas Naveau ends up going 13th. 48.833, so 0.8 back. Again, that's just your opening lap. Again, that's just getting your tire. Those are brand new tires, right? So you're literally cleaning the tire off a little bit, getting the grip level. You know it's going to fall in a huge way over the 4-lap duration. Naveau, pretty solid qualifier as well. This, you mentioned this, when you start diving inside each other, making moves like this is so tough early in the session. So indeed, getting things going here. Let's see who has the pace here. Naveau, as we said, went to P1 to 13th on lap 1, but here's lap 2. I would expect we'll see a couple of guys into the top 10 on lap 2. That's my prediction here.
Yeah, no, absolutely certain of that. You can see a lot of them are in that perfect, that 5 or 6 kart length gap between them. So they've got a tiny slipstream. They've got a target, but it's not a distraction.
Yeah.
And we'll cross the line to see names jump up the order, or will we? Because we're not sure I think that we may be having a few timing and scoring issues. Well, I tell you what, the 46 and the 50 are on track. Jacob Kolar and the 46. The 50 is Thomas Naveau. They're running together, so you can imagine that they were fast on their opening lap, and they should still be fast. They're in that group. Naveau towing Kolar and the 65. That's not going to help matters was that Harley Keeble? What number is Keeble? Yeah, 65. Yeah, that was Keeble making us in. Now things are updated, and it's Norberg who is fastest from Ramos, Keeble, Neveu, and Kolar. Check the flags out though, Rob. Who's going to make a last gasp move?
Yeah, here's the final lap. Nicholas Terlecki in the Hotes Racing Development Machine goes to P1 right now. Terlecki on top, 47. It doesn't last. He'll go to third. Donovan Bonilla. Here comes Dono right there with Ryan Norberg, RPG 1-2. And I think that's going to be probably it. Great job with those two drivers. Well, where does Sarathi end up? Remember, he was with them. 17th for Sarathi.
Yep.
Brian Garcia from Group 1 goes back to 14th. But Bonilla on the pole, 47.374. Norberg towed him around. 43 thousandths of a second separate first and second. A 47.417 for Bonilla. So Bonilla and Norberg 1-2. Nicholas Terlecki is going to be happy with that. P3 inside row 2 starting spot alongside another RPG machine. Laurent Legault 4th. Diego Ramos 5th. Paulie Massimino alongside Blake Nash, Harley Keeble, William Boutillier, and Thomas Neveu rounding out the top 10.
And this is why they call them the pro classes. 15 drivers in that fast group. They annex the top 13 positions. So slimmer pickings for everybody in the second group, and that's why they're the pro class. They you don't miss that often. So one time qualifying session to go, Rob. It is the Pro Shifter and Master Shifter. Well, I'm going to make a prediction, Rob. I think Skitchy Barnes is going to be pole in Master Shifter.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with you on that. I could go another way. No, maybe I'm going to go with you.
Yep.
Skitchy Barnes. Yeah, the single drivers we talked about in the Masters category, and we'll see what Scott's able to do here, running with some of these pro drivers. Again, Scott's a veteran pilot who's raced so much over here in the U.S., multi-time champion over in Bermuda. Big part of the Bermuda karting family and karting community there. Has served as the president of the Bermuda Karting Club for many years. Stepping away actually from the actual board this year to work on his own team where he's got a couple of young drivers that he's bringing up through the ranks as well. Skitchy, of course, runs Rock Island, comes over and runs the big track at Daytona. You name it, Skitchy's been part of the action over here in the U.S. as well. Part of the, I believe, as well, the Bermuda Motorsports Hall of Fame as well.
Oh,
so,
that's really
not
good.
surprising.
No, and also it's good that he's stepping away from obviously the Bermuda karting scene, which Skitchy has been a part of. He feels it is stable enough that he can step back and concentrate not on himself but on his team and bringing a future generation of Bermudan karting talents. Because of course you've got the likes of Alex Powell from Jamaica, you've got the likes of Zane Maloney from Barbados.
Sure.
You've got drivers here from Trinidad and Tobago that are based in the Bahamas. The Caribbean nations. You've got the Caribbean Karting Cup, which is a similar sort of, it's an arrive and race package on OKN karts that is bringing drivers. Yes, the standard is not as high as say the CIK FIA Academy in Europe, which is a global competition. But these nations, I do the Saudi World Series finals, and there's a great team from Aruba that's in the Bushiri Kart Raceway. And so, the Caribbean islands, they're trying to join the more traditional karting nations on the big stage. And Skitchy, I'm sure, is going to be a real key player in the future of young Bermudan drivers on that thing. But the hashtag, make Skitchy go pro. Take the lead off Skitchy for tomorrow. Sew up the title today in Masters and then take the lead off and run with the big boys. He's running with the big boys on track, but in terms of the weight limit, come on Skitchy, it makes sense.
I think we had to look at some of the fast guys as well in the morning warm-up. Giorgio Carrera in the Inter-MS Kart Republic went P1. Right in there as well was Adam Isambard, Mateus Morgado, Danny Formal, Cooper Becklin. I think Vincenzo Saraceno was right there as well in the 6th spot. So we've got ourselves a good group of drivers. We think they can step it up. But then you get Henry Wheeler jumping into the shifter kart category as well. Justin White's a driver we've watched be very quick over the last year and a half. Michael Riccio, Nicholas Deandra, and Chris Verino, the other drivers in the field. 12 total in the combined category, 11 In the pro shifter category, just a single driver, as we said, Scott Skitchy Barnes in the master shifter class. So again, just coming up about a minute before we roll things out, staying with our time-specific schedule, and then we'll head into the pre-final after this one's all said and done. Probably a little bit of a break in the action on that one. We'll probably have at least 10 minutes, I think, before we come back at 11 o'clock with the pre-final. Again, we'll remind everybody one more time, if you do want to continue to watch the wheel-to-wheel action here on Kart Chaser, the pre-finals and the finals, sign up for the premium membership and you're good to go for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, now in this class, Christopher Reno is the only driver who was a walk-up, because I've got 10 on my list and there's obviously 11 out there, so Christopher Reno a walk-up. The Maranello Kart USA team have got a couple of drivers. I think Verino might be on them. You know, Vincenzo Saraceno, Justin White, you know, they're sort of running side by side with Jerry Wright's Kart Works team. And again, you know, it's great to see different chassis manufacturers, factory entries. You know, you've got Rollison Performance Group, Inter MS, you've got the Rocket Racing car using the Formula K chassis, Sony Racing, PSL. So not the biggest grid, but a huge variety of teams and chassis.
And you mentioned the Maranello. Those karts look so good. I think the Maranello, it's just the livery, the coloring of those karts is so fantastic looking, and we've seen them kind of work their way to the forefront over the last couple of years. And again, finally, karts on the racetrack. Time to go qualifying.
One of them, they look good, but
that's Justin White.
Justin White there, going out of the circuit the wrong direction, just off pit lane. And yeah, you see, like, you know, lots of the factory teams, you know, the red and white from Birrell ART, the colour change, the design changes. Those Maranello karts, as the factory livery has been virtually identical for many, many years, that very bright red and yellow. As you're looking at, so, what does Matheus Morgado have to do to stop Formal from taking the title?
Well, again, the first and foremost, who's going to be the guy that's going to be the disruptor? Is it going to be Carrera? Is he going to come in and kind of shake things up a little bit? That kind of makes things happen. Morgado's just going to dial things in. Again, we talked about this. Such a great weekend for Formal. Morgado's got to come out of the gate strongly today. This is the day that he makes his statement where, hey, listen, I'm going to win the day, and then you're going to work hard tomorrow, right? And we'll figure it all what happens after that.
But of course, you've got the second driver, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but for each of the two main players. Cooper Becklin in the second RPG kart, and Henry Wheeler in the second PSL kart for Birrell ART. You know, Formal, you know, Morgado, he'll want Wheeler to be fast enough to, be the disruptor. Formal, that's why he was working so closely with Cooper Becklin, because, to give him a bit of extra breathing space, wouldn't it be nice for Danny Formal to be able to get the student in between him and the nearest rival?
That's it, yeah. And again, think about that too, right? He's trying to beat Morgado, so if you can get Becklin faster than Morgado, Isenborg can be faster than Morgado. If now Carrera can be faster, there's a lot more people that could potentially be in the middle of this Morgado versus Formal battle for the championship.
Yeah, and I have to say, I mean, obviously the action in Pro Shifter got a little bit tasty. I think is one thing. Looking back there, Alan Isenbarg, I think you can see a driver coming back to the national series and wanting to prove himself, showing that he belongs. And it got a little bit contentious. Some areas and a few little bits of battling going on in the wet conditions. But again, that's just the hunger coming into the play there for Alan Isenbarg. They're showing that, hey, you talk about the big guys, you know, the main players. Well, I'm here as well, and I deserve to be here.
Agreed. So out of the gate, first couple laps, well, they're probably going to get 4. They're fast. They may get 5, but very likely 4 laps as well. Matheus Morgado, first blood, a 46.402, almost 0.08 of a second off of Justin White, who's up in the second in the Maranello. Great run there for White early on. Formal third, Carrera fourth, and Michael Riccio going to round out the top 5 here. Morgado goes quicker again, stays purple on lap number 3. Carrera not enough. 300th back, and here comes Formal. He'll go to P1 in the 37, the Supernats winner to P1 on lap number 3.
But only by 0.04 of a second over Isenbarg. And here's Cooper Becklin, P3, only a 10th slower than, now down to P4, but only a 10th slower than Formal. Morgado back to 5th. So what
can Morgado do? He's got Giorgio Carrara, so two of the potential disruptors that we talked about that Rob Howden mentioned, Morgado and Carrara. It's going to come down to their last flying lap.
How about like Michael Riccio, though, in the Magic Kart USA entry up into the second spot? Morgado back to P1. He finds the speed in the final circuit. Carrera back and forth. Formal does not go any quicker, and you got to get every point you possibly can. Can Riccio work his way up? Declan does not. He's sixth. Right now, Morgado with the bonus points for pole. Waiting for the last lap here for Riccio. He ends up fourth. Morgado goes from P5 to P1 on the final circuit of 45.769, 23 thousandths quicker than Danny Formal.
And there are points available for pole position, and that is why Mateus Morgado, new to Shifter, but that's why he is a CIKFIA world champion.
Very impressive qualifying there. Mateus Morgado, P1. Danny Formal in second. Alan Isambard third. Michael Riccio. No, not quite. Another lap. Carrera was able to get everybody was able to get a fifth lap in. I thought I saw the checkered flag flying. We were done. The only change is Carrera moving up to third and pushing Isambard to fourth, Riccio to fifth, and Beckman to sixth. I wasn't sure if they were able to get the last lap in. We saw the checker, but indeed, Morgado, Formal, and Carrera all able to get one more lap, and all three going faster, although Morgado improving more than Formal. That 0.03 of a second turns into 0.167, so over a tenth and a half for Danny Formal behind Mateus Morgado. So Morgado on the pole, 45.598, the pole position for the PSL Karting and Inter-MS sponsored Pro and Master Shifter category. Indeed, wrapping things up with Mateus Morgado on P1. Speaking of P1, let's go over and chat with the guy who's P1 in X30 Senior.
Describe it to me.
Yeah, I was fast the whole weekend, just need to put a decent lap together in quality, and that's what I did.
And I mean, a reverse layout here, lots of different passing zones. What does it take to get a win around here?
Yeah, just be consistent, and I think we'll be good.
All right, thank you, Dono.
You're welcome.
So Donovan Bonilla wrapping things up there. Fantastic run in that qualifying session for him. With, getting a little help from Ryan Norbert, but they were able to go 1-2, so both those drivers in pretty good shape.
Yes, indeed, and as you can see now, the last drivers in Pro Shit are going to prepare to go through tech. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for you Kart Chaser Premium subscribers to be ready for the start of the pre-finals. If you're not a subscriber, do so at once. There'll be a short break here, and then myself, Henry Bodette, and the voice of SKUSA, Rob Howden, will be back to bring you all the pre-finals and the main events here at round 3 of the 2024 SKUSA Winter Series from the AMR Homestead-Miami Motorplex. Racing gets underway shortly. Don't go away.